Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hey, Lee, just that the first
Welcome
time
to
you've
a
ever
surprise
driven that
live stream on a Saturday afternoon.
Yes, and the last time.
Waylon, how you doing, sir? How are you doing? We're over here on the Hinterland server, joining some folks as we bring awareness to Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, I got you, man.
What's going on?
We're going to be streaming for a few hours this afternoon, and coming back tonight to stream a few more hours after that.
Up and down. Always will go in and out.
Everyone's having a fabulous Saturday
Yeah, you
afternoon.
got to meet the White Yokel because Aaron Lewis was opening up for me last night.
Okay, I got everybody dialed in now.
You think you got everybody dialed in, huh?
I believe so.
You know what the meaning of the sim is.
I have made it.
So, FARMER-KLEIN, is this the first time you've driven that tractor too?
It's the first time I drive lots of mods. We putting wheat?
Yeah, wheat, please.
Yeah, I don't think I've driven this. Although I may have added it to my Carpathian save, I don't know.
There's one thing I hate about Oregon, and it's their tax. Yeah, put all the extra information in just to get the fuel pump.
What's their percentage on their tax?
And I don't know what it is, but it's not an infant tax. It's their own state tax.
Mr. Jenner,
Mexico and
welcome.
New York both do the same
Welcome.
thing. Only you don't have to put all the information because it's already there.
I can't fathom.
So you just
Can't fathom where I'd
roll
be
up on the
mentally
fuel pump like you normally
if I
do.
didn't have something like Farm Sim. Just chill
But in
out.
Oregon, we have to put in our plate number. Or our DOT number, or, you know, something along those lines to show that we're exempt.
That sounds like governmental stuff.
And it's been that way for years, so that's the thing. They ain't gonna bother to change it now. I was just hoping I had enough fuel to get over to Idaho before I got fuel again.
I'm gonna wait
But
till you
that
get on
didn't
this
happen.
side. Then I'll come in behind you.
So, Jab, do you wanna know what I have on my trailer?
Charlie
Alright, what do we
boy,
got on
glad
the
you're feeling
trailer?
good. Glad you're feeling
I
good.
have something to do with railroads. I'm not really sure what they are. They're about, I want to say 8 foot wide by about 8 foot long. There's 16 of them on there, but they have a lock mechanism, I guess, on one side of it. And then I have 3 pallets on the back that's nothing but parts.
I saw on
Will,
the back of the
welcome.
semi yesterday. I saw a.
Welcome, Will.
It's like a track laying thing. If
They've
that
been
makes any
moving.
sense.
Yeah, they've been moving a lot of rail equipment. Like the, what you want to call it, the track layer machines, like the ones that pick it up and remove the rail ties. the ones that grind the rails down. They've been moving a lot of those on trucks. And I don't know why, because that usually is a great deal. So I don't know why they're all of a sudden putting them on trucks.
Yeah, what I saw was either, I think it was like the rail line itself. So not the ties, but
I'm trying to get this thing squared
rail
off.
itself.
Yeah, we haul a lot of that anyway. That's not common, just all that.
There, maybe we'll be a little bit more
Unless
straight now.
it's so long that it actually takes about 4 train cars.
Farmer
to
G,
haul across
welcome.
the country.
Missy, how you doing? Did I get that right?
Are you live, FARMER-KLEIN?
Yeah.
Hey guys, remember, like and subscribe.
Well, thank you.
I don't like and subscribe to anybody. I don't even like Jab.
Oh, I'm not super pushy like other creators that stuff their cards down people's pants.
I mean, that's all I heard was like and subscribe. I just thought that was a thing.
Yeah. It's a thing.
All right, how many cards did you find in your pocket when you got home?
None.
He took them all out of his pocket.
I think I had 5 or 6 in my suitcase. My wife's like, what are these things?
Missy, are you new here? It's a name I don't recognize. Hey, we're doing a much better job going straight this way.
Over here. Go put that on the.
I'll tell you what's up with the stream and what we're going to be doing
that on your speech.
today once we get into the
Go right here.
real deal.
Guy's over here trying to wash his bugs off his windshield. I carry Dawn dish soap on the truck because they don't put enough detergent in the buckets for us to wash our windows and stuff.
Doug, welcome. Welcome, sir.
So, do you want to take a guess at how much fuel I'm going to put on?
I don't even have an idea how much fuel goes in a semi-truck.
I have 240 gallon tanks on here. I was down to 3/8 of a tank.
Is that 240 per tank or 240 total?
It's 120 per tank. 240 in total.
I'm going to guess 220. Since
I don't
do
hardly ever
math.
put that much on.
Oh,
I think it depends on the price.
you don't fill it.
Well, I'm going to fill up because I have the room to do it. And I know how much I'll probably put on. But I'm just curious to know what you guys think. Yeah, 240 gallon tanks.
Billy
Or
Bob said
240.
179.
179 on 3/8 of a tank. He'd be pretty close.
Yeah, but doesn't that also affect your weight limit?
I don't. I'm only 35,000 pounds. I'm about 10,000 pounds weight being maxed out. Okay, when I rolled across the scale yesterday, I was only 29,000 pounds in my drives.
Reaper Clint said $900 worth.
Reefer, we got a problem.
You wish it was $900 worth, right?
Well, it'll be about probably about 650.
What is this tractor even? Oh, it's one of those. Okay.
Do you have more guesses?
Kevin, welcome.
Well, I would guess what? Price of diesel, including taxes, probably 6.25. Wait, what? There's more than 6.25?
You're over that limit.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome back. We are here on Hinterland, a wilderness-style map that's available over the Giants Mod Hub. And today we are joining Jababbo. Jabba. I tell you what, it's one of those names that I can't pronounce, and I have to say, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna need your help because I can never pronounce your screen name correctly.
Just call him Jab.
Yeah, that might work best. I feel like I'm like stuttering. Jababbo, like I just don't know.
I tell everybody to say jab because very few people enunciate it correctly, but it's Jababbo.
Jababbo.
See, the best way that I can explain how to say his name is put your finger in your mouth.
But I just tell everybody just say, jab. It makes it easier for everybody. And the other thing is, most people in chat when they're talking to other buddy streams, they can't spell my name either, so they just say jab.
Hey Jab, what did the guy guess? How many gallons?
And today we are
If the price is down.
we are streaming for Mental Health Awareness
Sorry,
Month.
need anyway, but what was the gallons on that? 170?
170.
The entire month of May is
Ain't
Mental
that
Health
over that.
Awareness Month, and we've
He's actually under.
talked about this a few other times during some other live streams, but today we are in
I know
conjunction
my
with
work
Jabs on his
was
server, and he's going to be doing a 12-hour live stream. He started 3 hours ago at 9 a.m., and he's going to be streaming until 9 p.m. over on his Twitch channel.
No.
We're going to
We're not
be
doing
helping
that.
him out for maybe half of that time. Playing us a stream for 3 hours ago.
Land on 666.
So I'll stream until around 3 o'clock. Then we'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back around 6 p.m. to stream another 3 hours and help him close out his 12-hour live stream.
Now, FARMER-KLEIN, when you play, do you normally use GPS or BCS?
It's usually something I add.
My bad. I didn't think about adding it. I never play with it, so it's one of those things like I didn't use it, so I didn't think about putting it on.
Oh well, it's useful for us creator types because then we don't have to focus so much on driving and can focus on the chat more. But this will work. I'm good.
Hey, for all you YouTube people, I'm sorry. It's my fault.
Well, I mean, you could benefit too.
I'm a mouse and keyboard player. I just like to go.
I just use the old school when I don't have it. I just look down at the compass directions and I try to keep it on 270 or 90.
We've told him that for years, but he doesn't listen to it.
I'm hard-headed, man.
Because
Okay. This. Yeah, that's why I like to stream sometimes at alternate times of the day. If we're doing something like crossplay, then it's not allowed. So it's not a have to, but it's a nice to have.
I used it for when I run my DD-120 across the field. That way I don't have to worry about it.
How's it up, Kevin? So we are working with Jab on his server. Again, he is streaming 12 hours for the TWLOHA nonprofit. They are a nonprofit that strives to help connect folks who need help with those who can provide help for various mental health issues. And they're also trying to, knock down the wall of a stigma, maybe. Stigma related to mental health. Things people don't really want to talk about. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there that are struggling with mental health, And some folks can self-treat. They find ways of kind of getting the help that they need. For me, Farm Sim is 100% helping me out, keeping my sanity, helping me get away from the day's life, the day's stresses, the day's pressures. And when I'm in Farm Sim, I can just ignore things for a couple hours. I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have Farm Sim. I think my life would be much less happier for me. That's why we've got our slogan, "Farming's my chill." I put that on a thumbnail today because I thought it was appropriate. At any rate, you can learn more about that organization down in the description. There should be a link to their website, a little bit of a blurb as to what is going on with them. And if you feel so inclined, there's also a donation link, and the QR code also on the screen will take you to that. We have a campaign partnership with the Farming for Mental Health. That's what I had set up. The TWLOHA organization. We had a goal of $500 for the month. Don't know if we're going to be able to meet that or not, but we're going to work on it. Like I said, we're going to be streaming for 6 hours today from now until 3 p.m. Then we're going to come back around 6 p.m. and finish it out with Jabs and whoever else you might have come in on the server. We also might have some other special guests making their way in today. Caring is sharing, and sharing is caring.
Yeah, okay.
It goes both ways, right?
And then Bluetooth decided that it wanted to screw up, and then I had a heck of a time putting it back on.
I want the new advancement of Bluetooth called Gold Tooth. It's a tooth in your mouth that's gold, but then also transmits signals.
All right, I'll take a potty break. I'll be right back.
That sounds like a space age thing.
Aliens be coming. Particle, welcome. Owen Link. Not right now. Not right now. We are on Jab's server, and he started this up for just this live stream. And he was going to, I think the goal was to build a farm. I don't think we've actually built a farm yet. And then we are creating fields. He's got it down. We have to perform specific steps to get those fields created. So he's been on the map for about 3 hours now. And we're just now here helping him out. I don't know if we're going to be building out a farm, when we're going to start that process. I'll ask him when we get back.
Well, then.
Rock picker's getting beat up. Forward ain't going. Alright, I got it.
So how many of you guys actually use OP mods on your servers or games?
If you're asking me, probably no.
You got the what?
Let's say probably no.
There are a few that I use for our server, but then again, I only got 3 people that are okay with it. We don't stream off of it, so.
I wouldn't call easy dev OP. I would say that's more of a tool.
No. OP is what I'm talking about, like combines that can hold, you know, 1 million bushels of corn, or, you know, 2 million bushels of wheat, or, you know, just odds and ends, you know, things like that, or a tractor that can go 90 miles an hour down the field. And,
No, that's anti to my principles. Because I tell people farming's my chill. So why do I want to do fast farming? It means I chill out. I get done chilling faster. So I don't want to not. I get done relaxing faster. I don't want to get back to the civilization faster.
The only one that I will actually, I mean, we have combines.
Wicked Wolf, welcome.
Like the Eagle 355 combine.
All right, back at you.
But the only one that I actually care that as OP one is like the sugar beet harvesters or the potato harvesters, because I don't like doing them, but I have to do them for the pigs.
Oh, I end up grabbing the Grimmy pack, the old school windrower, and that's how I do my taters.
I'll have to do it for you.
Oh, okay, so we got to roll. What do you want to do after rolling? Nothing?
Herbicide.
Herbicide? Okay.
Or you can grab the grass cutter and rinse and repeat in another field.
Okay.
Hey, Jab.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just my map or if it's whatever, but usually when I roll, I don't really have a whole lot of weed problem. Just saying.
You're talking about weeds? Wow, so there's not going to be any weeds.
See, Jab is so old school that he gets out there with a shovel and a bucket when he's got to harvest potatoes and sugar beets.
I was talking to him about PAX about Hoff Bergman, right? That map's right up his old school aisle. I mean, he's got a bucket. That's how you water your chickens, is you got to use a bucket or a watering can.
Don't give me this watering chickens thing. You don't have to give chickens water in this game.
Oh, at Hoff Bergman, you have to water your chickens.
Oh, in Hoff Bergman, yeah. But Giants doesn't. Evidently, the Germans and Giants don't think chickens need water.
I guess they just rains enough. They look up and they drink.
That's okay, because my cows don't need water.
Well, I mean, it's plumbed into the buildings. I think they saw that the water pipe mod from GTX from 17 and 19. I think they saw that was rather popular with PC players.
It was.
And
it was a lot popular on that one.
You know, in 17 you had to add it to the map with GE, and it was kind of a big barrier to entry. In 19 he made it placeable, which was outstanding.
Yeah.
Right. So then I think in 22 they just decided, well, let's make water piped in.
Yeah, I like the one in 19 because you can place them anywhere that you want to. If you want to place stuff against the fence line, you just place stuff against the fence line. If you want to place it in the barn, you just place it in the barn. You know.
Gavin, exactly. Why do I want farming to be stressful? This is why I started farming. So my origin story to Farm Sim is I used to be really heavy into sim racing. And I would come home and I would, you know, have dinner, and then I'd jump in the rig and I would do sim racing. And I would practice and practice and practice, and then we would have the race. and then, you know, something would happen. I'd wreck out. I'd mess up. Someone would hit me. At any rate, the race is over. A week of practice.
Well, here's the thing
done.
about that, right? If they're going
Very
to
stressful.
if they're going to give you
Very frustrating.
pots to already water your animals and stuff like that.
And I
that's
got
one thing.
into
But give you the
Farm
choice of
Sim
choosing ones that you can fill up
as a
yourself, too.
way to divert my attention between races.
I don't know how, you know.
Because in sim racing, a lot of the races are scheduled,
If you can actually.
and
do that,
you know they
though.
might happen every 2 hours, or they might happen every 3 hours. So if you get wrecked
You know,
out
they don't give you a whole
halfway
lot of
through the
options
race,
when you go to buy the chicken coop.
you've got an hour and a half
They just say medium,
that you have to
small,
sit around
medium,
and wait
large
on
chicken coop, and there's nothing there
until
that,
the until the next race.
say, okay, do you want
So
external
there's only
hot
so much
water or you want
practice you could
internal
do
water?
before you just kind of get tired of practice. So I started doing farm sim stuff, and
Well, there's
then I
plenty of-
realized
if you look at the
that I
pins, there's plenty of
preferred
pins that, like you
to do
said,
farm
you have
sim
to fill
stuff
the water up. It can't be that hard.
than to do the
They
racing
just made
stuff.
a decision on chickens not to have,
Right? My
just
brain
like
was
you don't
like,
have to clean up the chicken pens anymore.
you like doing
Well,
this
you
When they're
more,
19, you have to clean up
so
behind them.
I'm going
Right,
to
you don't have to do the
I'm going to make you feel better
chickens, cows, or
when you're
pigs
farming than
anymore.
when you're racing.
You know, where we used to get manure off
And
the cow
as
farm,
such,
we don't
right?
get the manure off the cow
As
farm.
such, you started being like, I would rather
You know, we
be
get the
farming.
slurry, but we don't get the manure.
And then at one point in time, I was just like, you know what? Done. I'm done with this. And I canceled my iRacing subscription. And I just did farming. And haven't looked back since. Never regretted that decision. Now I do a little bit of sim
understand
racing.
the concept of, you know, like
And the sim racing I do, I
like
am
the-
very,
the-
very
the-
deliberate
the big,
on making sure that I do not
the
get
big, you know,
too
cow barns and stuff like that.
serious
doing that.
into it. Because
It's
again,
just-
I just don't need that added stress.
Whenever you present Giants with the opportunity of something that you want to see in the future, they always say, well, we want the ability
Yeah.
to toggle it off.
Yeah,
just in case
planning
people
pit
don't like
stops,
it.
right?
Well,
And-
then this
and-
is an example of them making something that you don't have a choice in the matter.
Right. And I fully understand that. You know, I understand where they're coming from on that.
So we do
It's just
things.
like,
We do.
the seasons thing.
We have an
You
ACC
know,
night where we
back
do
when it first come
ACC
out,
with folks
you
in the
really didn't have an
Discord.
option of whether you
But
know, it was- your options
Very,
were
very deliberately,
either
I
put
don't.
it in the
I don't
in
put
the
more than
server
one
or in the
one
game,
evening of practice in.
or don't put it in the game. You know,
And,
they
you know,
didn't
if
have
we
the
don't-
toggles on there. And
if
then
I don't
19, they come back,
Do
come
good
out,
in that
and they got a
race?
little bit
Well,
better,
it's
and
frustrating
you were able
for
to
sure,
toggle
but
it, and you were able to
it's
set
not
the
a,
snow, and you were able to do a whole
it's
bunch
not
of
an end of the
different
world
things. You know,
thing.
we had a developer control that you would hit F1 or escape or the squiggly. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was a squiggly, and you could actually go into DevTools that way and set like snow on the ground, or you know, you type in the command. You didn't have what we have now,
Well, you can still do that now.
can you?
Yeah, it's just most
Yeah,
people
you
don't
can
know
still
that-
do it now
Most people don't know.
if you know the code. Or the prompt.
You know, I know a guy. He made a video with a bunch of really cool dev commands a long time ago. He's on this field with Jabs. But yeah, if you can do it in easy dev, technically you can do it by the standard dev console. Like,
Yeah, because all easy dev does is put the commands in for you, right?
right. Like I knew I could spawn bales, but I could never get the syntax right to get anything other than like a random straw bale or a grass round bale, but I could never get a grass square bale to spawn. And
Oh, now
it-
you can get any bale, any pallet in the game to
Well,
drop
yeah.
out of the sky.
yeah.
You know that Black Forest Montana map.
Bucket, I bet you they have with
You can
fast
actually
farming
spawn alfalfa bales now on that.
and some of those other things.
Yeah, as long as it's something that can be made on that map, you can spawn it. So the XML of the map that you're playing on determines what you can spawn in and out.
Right.
or the DLC. So like if you have the platinum DLC, then you can spawn in any of those things.
Emergency guy, welcome. Welcome.
I forgot I'm in Idaho. I can go 70 mile an hour.
Oh, well, Doug, what you need to do is you need to have different
You
mod
want the yellow
folders.
swather or the red
Then you don't have to
swather?
worry about that. If you have a mod folder for Hoff, then you have a mod folder for Carpathian, then you don't have to worry about interference because you would just have the mods you have activated on one given map activated for the other given map. Let's find this.
The yellow one's here, the red one's out on the other field where all the other stuff is.
We're herbiciding.
Yeah, we can get to herbicide real quick.
I mean, we gotta weed it. This
Well,
is
that's
how,
what the herbicide prevents the weed, man.
is this how you? Well, you
You
plowed.
can preempt.
You plowed, so really, there will be no weeds.
Oh, if we plowed it, we don't have to weed it?
No,
All right,
Yeah.
well then we'll skip the weeding then.
the act of plowing prevents all weeds. For,
But we also cultivated.
for that growth cycle, but you plow.
Basically,
Wow.
what he's saying is that the next time that you go around and you cultivate, you're gonna have to weed it. But as long as you plow the fields, you don't have to. You don't have to
no weeds
you don't
until
have to weed
post-harvest.
them.
Once you harvest, you reset the no weed plow effect.
Okay. All right, well then, go grab your red swather then.
Well, I'm bringing my white case over here for now. Rambo 5, welcome. Are you building the farm? Are we doing that?
Just I'm trying to get as many fields that we can.
Okay.
And then we'll put down sheds and all that other good stuff.
Okay. When I jumped in earlier, I was trying to make a thumbnail, and I'm like, I don't think there's a farm yet, so. That's one of the downsides of YouTube is thumbnails. I was watching a guy that converted from Twitch to YouTube, and he was like, now I need to make thumbnails. What? What's this? What's this? Optimus, what's up?
Thumbnail?
It's that you've got 10 of them on your fingers. Some people paint them.
No, sir. All phalanges are fingers, but not all fingers are thumbs.
Oh, okay.
If
Well,
I got 10 thumbs in my hand, man, let me tell you something. We're making some money.
there's some days that I feel like I'm all thumbs.
Hey, Jab.
T. Miller says I only have 2 thumbnails.
That is your. Do you have toe thumbs?
No, he says I only have 2 thumbnails.
Oh,
No, they call it the big toe. They call that big toe.
but it's
Not
not
a
a.
thumb.
It's not a toe thumb.
No.
Is a big toe a thumb?
Oh.
The thumb has to be a opposable digit.
Is it? No, because it's not. Yeah, a thumb's not an opposable digit.
That means monkeys have 4 thumbs.
Maybe.
How did we get on this subject anyway?
Oh, wait. It'll get better. Just wait. Oh, what car did you get?
Oh, I didn't buy anything this week. That was last week. I just had to get an oil change. I want Oh, do we need to move all this stuff out of the way?
Nah, it'll slowly migrate.
All right. Well,
I'm in the next quadrant.
Oh, you're not coming back here?
Well, kind of, yeah.
He will eventually, but he's not going to go right now.
Oh, well, I was waiting until you came back here, then I'd come in behind you.
Gab's out there writing his name in the grass field right now, so it's okay.
Oh, well, we tried to get Kermit to write his name in the grass field on that other community stream.
I'm trying to figure out where the frog is. He said he was going to be here.
Daniel, this
We're gonna
is
have to give him
Hinterland.
business.
He's probably not up yet.
If I were to buy a car, it would be a right now I'm
It'd
kind
be
of
a Lamborghini, right? All you UT people make all that big bucks.
yeah, big bucks. Okay.
You're like, yeah, I keep saying.
Okay, sure. It would
Half
probably
a penny here, half a penny there.
right now I'm pretty sweet on the Hyundai Santa Cruz. That's their SUV pickup hybrid.
I'm glad you said hybrid, not full electric.
Well, no, not hybrid. Like it's full gas. It's just like hybrid, as in a mix of a pickup and a SUV.
See,
I thought that was called an SUV.
So it's like the
because if it's an SUV, Jab, then that means he can go off-road. He's wants something he doesn't have to go off-road with, and but gets him around town.
So it's like the Honda. Is it Honda Pilot that has? I call it a unibody pickup because a standard pickup has the cab, and then there's the bed, and they're different. But a unibody pickup is like it goes straight from cab to bed with no separation.
Okay, so the easiest reference I can give you that he would understand about that car is just tell him it's a newer model of a Malibu.
The only unibody pickup I know is the El Camino.
So it's like
Yeah.
an El Camino with a short bed and four doors. And it's SUV higher height as opposed to
El Camino or
it's
Ranchero, depending on your brand.
It's kind of like Toyota Tundra, but smaller.
Honda
Yeah.
Ridgeline?
Yeah, it's like a Ridgeline. Maybe that's it, not a Pilot. But it's got like it's a short bed, like a 4-foot bed. Then you get a trim package with a cover, pull back cover of the bed. So it's like a 4-door SUV
It's kind of like
with a big
Jeep.
trunk.
It's kind of like the Jeep, the little Wranglers that have the bed in the back.
Yeah, those new 4-door
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
Kind of sounds like a Humvee to me. 4 doors with a little bed in the back.
kind of, only just not ginormous.
Well, you gotta have some place that you can sleep out in the stars with.
Dude, I'm over 6 foot tall. I'm not sleeping in a 4-foot bed.
Well, they make
Tailgate
bed
comes
extenders.
down.
It's okay.
Tailgate comes
Just
down.
put a
You
piece
just,
of plywood.
yeah.
I just sleep on the ground.
If you ever rode with me, Jab, you'd have to sleep on the top deck of the trailer. Because this truck will not fit a 6-foot person. And Ryan has a hard time. And you've talked to Ryan before. Ryan has a hard time even sleeping in his Volvo.
Yeah, except to be bigger than a brat.
And he's 6'5".
You know, brats are kind of small physically. squaring it off, or are you gonna go write your name?
Oh, I make a couple of headlands and I just go up and down. I'm sorry.
I was just following that. No, I had to get the oil changed. I've been meaning to get the oil changed since I came back from PAX, and that was the end of March.
Yeah, that was a bit ago.
But it's not that big of a deal because I went and had my state inspection done and tires rotated right before PAX. But my dealership gives me free oil changes, but they wouldn't do an oil change because I wasn't within 500 miles of when it was due. I was like 900 miles from when it was due. So I couldn't do an oil change. But the guy tells me when I'm checking out, he's like, we technically did an oil change on your car because the techs, like whenever they see the order for an inspection and a tire rotation, they just kind of 99% of the time it includes an oil change, so they didn't even really look and they just changed your oil. So we didn't charge you for it, but we also didn't update the sticker. And there's nothing on the ticket that says you got an oil change, because the boss would get really angry if we did a free oil change without it being within the right time frame. So I came home and I checked the dipstick. I'm like, well, I'll see if he's just blowing smoke or not, because the oil is either going to be clear
or it's gonna be
or not, right? So I pulled the stick and I'm like, yep, it's fresh oil, so he wasn't blowing smoke. So even though I was 2,000 over the limit, I was technically 3,000 miles early. You say it, they do me at 5,000.
All right. So what was your favorite part about PAX?
kicking your butt in Farming Simulator.
Oh, we didn't do it. We didn't do a challenge. I would say the experience of the trip, just the whole trip. You know, and then for me, a lot of it was experiencing it through my son's emotions and everything, because he was 9 and this was his one. It was his first big trip with Dad, and 2, it was a big trip to a big city, right?
Oh,
And
yeah, he was like a deer in the headlights.
Then it was a gaming convention
figure
on
out
top
where
of
he wanted
that.
to go first.
Right.
Where did y'all go anyway?
Uh,
I know you told me, Jab, but I couldn't remember where it was.
It was in Boston. Oh, you mean outside of the convention center?
No, I was talking about where PAX was.
Oh, yeah, in Boston.
Did you take him out of the aquarium? The one that you're gonna take the little duck boat out and float down the river?
there was like no time. We were there for 4 days, and all we did was PAX and sleep.
It was like PAX till like 7 o'clock at night, and then it was go get food and alcohol.
Except for the 9-year-old.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, he wasn't allowed to have alcohol. He got food, just no alcohol.
He got Mountain Dew, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you know, it's like PAX like opens up at 10, and I thought, oh, okay, so you know, there's an opportunity to do some stuff in the morning. No, not really. Like, you get up at like 7:30, you get ready, and then you leave the hotel at like 8:30, you get breakfast, and then you're standing in line at 9:30 to go in. And
Yeah, see, I got to go in the special door.
I saw you had the exhibitor
where there was
badge.
no line.
Well, I had a creator tag, so we got to skip the main outside line, but we had to wait inside in the line.
Yeah. I
Sure.
think that's one thing a lot of people don't realize about going to conventions like that is that when you go, you think that you're going to have time to do other things, and 9 times out of 10, you either get invited to something that you didn't know was going to happen, or things just take more time to get things done than you anticipated.
Then you're sitting there at the end of it, it's like you're scratching your head going, what's the time going?
That's about the size of it.
I mean, all 4 days of the conference, we didn't eat lunch. He never said he was hungry, so I never brought it up.
And of course, when you're inside the convention center, you can't see outside, so you don't know what the time is or what the weather is. It's like being in a casino.
We did that, I was at the last convention that Kansas City had for FFA. And, you know, you go down there for 7 days, it takes you at least a couple days to get out there, and you're just sitting there, you know, once you get out there, you're just like, it's already time to leave? Where did all the time go? Because you're either sitting in conventions, or you're cruising the mall, you know, because they bring out, you know, vendors and stuff like that, or you're just sitting there going, you know, concerts or whatever you happen to be, you know, wanting to do at that time, but you never really go do anything like explore the city or anything.
TwitchCon's the same way.
Still mad at my grandmother though. She took
Yeah,
my
so-
she took my hat, that my cowboy hat that I got. It was a Stetson hat, and that was the one. Like I said, that was the last convention center they had in Kansas City, and yeah, I bought that hat, and then my dad wanted it, and so I let him have it. And then when he passed away, my grandmother stole it.
So I went ahead and booked a room for next year. I can cancel it if I want to. I figured it'd just be best to book the room and then cancel it as opposed to trying to book a room later.
Did you have a hard time trying to book a room out there then?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, it's not like it's something you want to drive to.
Right.
So it's, you either do public transport, you either pay like ridiculously expensive taxi or Uber rates, or you take public transport. And
The hotels are expensive out there too.
the hotels are ridiculous.
I was gonna say, you know, being a truck driver, I used to do Boston all the time. Actually, Walbert, Mass. But you know, being a truck driver on that end of it, it just downright sucks. You know, even with public transport, it's just I don't know how people live up there. I don't know how people live in New York City.
They make a heck of a lot more than they do not living there. I mean, I remember I was in New York City in the mid 90s, late 90s, yeah, late 90s. And I don't know where I'd heard it from, but like somebody had mentioned like the cops make like over $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And like at that time, people like fast food restaurants were like making $15 an hour because it's just, if you don't, you can't live there. And then I knew a friend that knew some people that were like flight attendants, and they basically shared this small flat with like 5 people. And since they were coming and going so often, there was very rarely was there more than like 1 or 2 people in town. but it was like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a madhouse. I mean, my dad used to drive down there, and I think the last time that I went down there was just before 9/11. And my dad used to train down there, and it's just like, you know, I rode with him a couple times when I was a kid. And it's like, how do you deal with this stuff? You know, I mean, there's just coming across the GW bridge is just horrible. And I'm like sitting there going, how do you deal with all the traffic? You know, it would take you 6 hours to go across one of the boroughs just to, you know, get over to your destination. So you had to accommodate for that and then some, because, you know, what if you have an accident, you know, in front of you? Well, you got 10 miles of backup behind you. You know, I've heard that the apartments out there are, you know, $2,100 at the minimum and $4,000 at the maximum. And I'm sitting there going, how do you guys live?
Yeah, but they also get paid. Their salaries are way higher too.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, though, Chab, is they pay double tax.
I mean, I understand that. New York, you know, up there, if you're in the highest tax bracket in between federal and state, you're paying over 50%.
Well, that doesn't even count the city. City taxes you too. Just like, I don't understand. You know, yeah, it looks great on paper, you know, for $100,000, but no wonder the cops are broke half the time. Because by the time they get done paying rent and all their utilities, they don't have any money at the end of the week.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, $100,000 salary looks great on paper.
And then,
But-
I mean, food prices, everything's just. Where are we taking this
Yeah.
grass?
Taking it over the fermenter. Yeah.
Just to the sell point.
But, you know, in Boston's about the same way. I mean, and just, I don't know. I burnt myself out on Boston. I mean, it was so bad that I didn't want to touch the truck. But the thing of it is that, you know, it's like those people up there just think that it's normal.
Well, I will say this about downtown Boston. Downtown Boston is a lot nicer than downtown Atlanta. Because walking through downtown Atlanta at night, I mean, you run across all kinds of weird things and it's sketchy. Down there, I didn't see a single beggar.
Well, yeah.
I will give them that, but, you know, but then again, downtown, unless you went to South End,
Oh, this has got two cameras.
South End is kind of like Atlanta. You know, not as drastic as Atlanta, but it is kind of like Atlanta. But if you're just downtown and you don't go any further than downtown, then you're fine. You know, and if you go north of Boston, it's gorgeous country up there.
Yeah. So like where I stayed a little bit further away than I don't know where Jab stayed, but a lot of the other folks stayed at the some other.
They stayed at that Yotel.
Yotel.
I actually had a friend that lived across the bay from the convention center. So like, I walked like another, probably like 3/4 of a mile from where the Yotel was to catch the subway to where he was.
Yeah. So I think we were there. It was like $1,600 for just a hotel.
Holy. Man, I'm balking about $173 a night. If I stay at a good hotel.
Yeah, I love $173 a night. So the one I booked this time around, it looks like it's more on the same bus route as the convention center. So I think it'd be easier to just jump a bus and go.
Watch, they'll change the bus routes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe the hotel I was at would be decent, but it involved subway to like the main station and then switch into a bus, and we ended up just walking. It was a decent walk. I'd rather not walking a lot, but it was cheaper than Uber was like, I don't know, $40 a one-way ride. It was like insane.
You know what you should do is go out and invest in one of them electric scooters. You know, those electric, oh, what you call it, those electric skateboard scooters.
They actually had the bicycles you could rent too if you wanted to.
Yeah. But, you know, that would help out greatly when you got to walk that kind of a distance.
Were you over there where Kermit and them and Jenny was staying at?
No, I don't know where they stayed at. I stayed. It was about a mile and a half where I finally got a room. The Yotel was like it was more expensive than the place I was at. But the place I was at was like 100% valet parking, right? You pull off the road in a little notch to unload your car, and then they drive your car who knows where and park it. And that was like $50 a day. Thank you. I add that to your already expensive room.
You know, I just have one question about this. Why did they not do something like in the Midwest? You know, where the farming belt is actually at.
I think there is a PAX in the there is a PAX in the South. It's in Texas somewhere, if I remember right.
But why did they pick up Boston instead of, you know, doing something Midwest?
Because they do East, West, and South.
Yeah, so PAX is a gaming convention more than anything else. Board games, card games.
Yeah, any kind of game that you can think of.
I mean, it was a
podcasting equipment too.
Massive presence for like board games, role-playing games. Those.
Oh yeah, they had Dungeons and Dragons guys out there doing demos all weekend.
Right.
Smash Brothers. I mean, it's if you're a gamer, you can't find something to do there, then you're not a gamer.
So there's PAX East, which is in Boston. There's a PAX West, which is somewhere
Seattle.
Yeah. There's a PAX Texas that I don't know if they're bringing it back. It existed before COVID. I don't know if they're going to bring it back. Then they
have a PAX in Canada too.
There's a PAX Unplugged that's in Philly at some point, and it's 100% just board games and card games.
I honestly never understood the whole card, you know, like the Pokemon games. You know, where you're laying down cards instead of casting actual spells. You know, like you do on the video game. Dungeons and Dragons.
They had Pokemon, they had Yu-Gi-Oh, they had Magic the Gathering.
tournaments. I know that. I'm just saying I never understood the concept of the actual card game. Now, I played Pokemon and all that on video game, but I've never really understood it on the card game. You know, I can understand Dungeons and Dragons or Risk or, you know, some of those other board games like that, but I just never understood the whole, I guess the whole thing of it is that, you know, how do you factor in the hit points? You know, and I guess that's more or less where I don't understand the game when it comes to the board or card game, because, you know, on a video game it's already calculated for you. You know. Yeah,
I know with Pokemon there's like the hit points are written on the card.
Yeah, the information is on the card. You just have to keep track of it.
And like all your attacks are on the card, and then there's like modifying cards you can lay down.
It's just that collectible card games is a different mechanic, and it's a different beast, and it's kind of one of those things that either you get it or you don't. Either you love it or you hate it. There's really no in between.
I mean,
because
it's
an expensive sport to get into.
My ex, Becky, her boyfriend is
what's up, Cornell?
Or avid board game like that, you know, card board. board player, and he's getting her into it. And she's like, "Holy crap! Some of these things are just way out of my league." And it's like, yeah, you know, some of those specialty cards are going to cost you $1,000 or more. You know, yeah, they might kick the bejeebas out of, you know, the other player, but you know, it's going to cost you some money.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: my last competitive Magic deck that I played was close to $3,000. Now, granted, I didn't. You know, my friends built it for me and lent me the cards, but yeah, they can get up there.
You know, don't get me wrong. When I was a kid, I played Risk all the time. We'd meet about 4 other buddies of mine. We'd sit down and play Risk, and hell, our parents would be calling us up, going, "Where are you?" "Oh, we're over at Jimmy's house." "Well, what are you doing over there?" "We're playing a board game." You know. But we also understood it too. You know, we didn't have the video games and stuff like we did, you know, later on. But, you know, we also played, what was the other one there that, I can't remember now.
I wonder why there's rocks in the river.
Did you dump the rocks in the river?
No, it's on the map. Lee said PAX South was canceled. It'll be back next year, I'm pretty sure of it.
I left a scathing review with PAX around the mask
God, I hope
mandate.
you said something about the mask mandate.
Yeah, the
It
mask
was
mandate
ridiculous.
and their enforcers. I mean, I just tore into them
What?
in a
What was that all about?
non-dirty language way.
Well, it's just, their enforcers are basically like Gestapo.
They're basically staff, either paid and/or volunteer staff. But it's just, I said, I find it rather juvenile that we know what these people are. They're basically staff that either volunteer or you pay them to come help run the event. That's what they are. But no, you're childish and you give them this tag of enforcer as if, you know, they're the Gestapo or something. And
let me guess, they got a big head and they were enforcing every rule. Nothing, you know, no pulling no slack on anything. You know, just flat out, you know, being rude about it, right?
some were.
Some were cool about it. It
And then-
depended which individual you were dealing with.
Yeah, and like,
Well, that's the thing though, Jab, is that, you know, you give somebody the power like that, and then all of a sudden they think that they can, you know, be the muscle of the group and you know, throw their weight around, and you can't do anything about it.
yeah, and for me, calling them an enforcer only enforces that type of thought process, as opposed to just calling them event staff. Right? It's the same principle. It's
Yeah,
just one
why-
carries this connotation of more weight.
Okay, so why not label them as COVID staff or COVID guideline staff or something, you know, other than the word enforcer? Because that word alone will give you the biggest head in the world, and then you become a Gestapo.
Right, but these folks, they held a lot more roles than just making sure people wore masks.
Right.
And like most of them were perfectly fine, but then there were times where it was like, I really don't need you hurting me like I'm cattle, okay? I'm an adult. I'm not a juvenile here. But I also understand that a lot of this comes down to logistics of dealing with tens of thousands of people and keeping order and things like that. But yeah, they were all over the place, which can be useful because like you were no more than like turn around and you can find somebody and like ask them a question or anything. But then they were like, you know, this is where the line starts. Oh, okay. I didn't know. But now I know. Okay, I'll get in line. I wasn't trying to not be in line.
Kind of reminds you of that movie, The Christmas Story, where Ralphie and his brother are gonna go see Santa Claus, and he walks up the stairs. The guy behind him's like, "Hey, dude, the line ends there, starts here."
Yeah. Or if you get there early, right? You want to be there early, so you get in the line, and then they don't let you in the actual convention center until it actually opens. But while you're standing in line, do I really need to have 3 people walk past the line every 2 minutes yelling the same instructions to me of, stand in line and close up the gaps? And then for whatever reason, there was a guy that had like a boom box on his hip, and then he would decide to just run through the line. Like, you're not helping this by having this loud, annoying music. While I have other people screaming at us from the side of the line, and then we have to make room for you to get through the line, but then they want us to tighten up. So just...
Hey, FARMER-KLEIN, Boss Man says he enjoyed your content on YouTube.
Thank you, boss man. Thank you very much. Be sure to like, subscribe.
I'm actually like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications.
But yeah, so like on the masks, that's like, it's like seriously. And then on the page where they ask you to provide feedback, they show pictures of packs, right? So I was like, I find it rather interesting that on your website you don't show any pictures of packs after 2019, because that's when you started having your mask mandate and still have your mask mandate. But oddly enough, you're using press photos and publicity photos from no later than 2019.
Well, that's because I talked to a lot of those guys, and a lot of those guys personally believe that there should always be a mask mandate for the convention because of the convention flu.
In all reality of it is, it's like this, okay? And I'm gonna be very honest about this. Jab,
No, lie about it.
No. Jab, you know my opinion on it. We've talked about it on the phone.
Family friendly.
Hey, I am being family friendly, okay? But I don't care about them having a mask, if you want to wear the mask, wear the mask. But don't force it on me if I already know that I know the risk of getting it. I know, it's no different than getting sick to me. Common cold, common flu. But I get that you're trying to, prevent
what's
other
up?
people from getting sick. But here's my thing on it. Don't enforce it on somebody, or push them to do it if they don't want to do it.
Steve, very much. Very much as card games combine. Those two things.
Have a good day. I'm not
right, you got to buy the pack because somewhere, maybe in that pack, you have a the golden ticket.
Anyway, so
the chance of getting that golden ticket are pretty low. So you just keep buying pack after pack, hoping you're going to land on it.
Bet money on it, I guarantee I would say that they have a mask mandate in Seattle. And that's the thing that, like, nowhere else in Boston when we were there had a mask mandate, only at PAX.
That's where
right.
I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a minute. That's where people seem to not realize that they are trying to control something that somebody doesn't want control over. And that's where I have the biggest problem. You don't live my life, I don't live your life. If you choose to wear a mask at a convention center, that's on you. But if I choose not to walk there, if I choose to walk in there, knowing that I could get sick, knowing that I could get, COVID or whatever, I'm taking the risk. Not you. You're protecting yourself. So why are you trying to enforce something on me because you're wearing a mask and I'm not? You see where I'm going with that?
Well, here's the funny thing. So in California at TwitchCon, right? They, you know, you had to show your card to get your inoculation card to get in, and then after that, it pulls down. They had a.
How much are we making on this?
They didn't enforce it.
A lot of those, okay, so a lot of the people down there, you know, because we do California and stuff like that, a lot of those
this
guys
extra camera's
down there
ridiculous.
don't care for the whole ordeal of it. And I'm gonna be real, you know, straightforward with that. The only reason why they put it in place is because the governor wants them to put it in place. You know, and they have to follow the government rules. You know, whether they do it actually, you know,
See how much we make.
they just have to put it up on the door and say that, you know, you have to wear a mask coming into the store, or coming to the TwitchCon, or wherever it happens to be. But a lot of places don't enforce it. They just put it on the door. They don't enforce it because they don't.
41,
they
45.
know that you, me, and anybody else in the stream has their own right to not have to wear the mask. You know, I got COVID twice. Yeah, it's a little bit stronger than the flu. But in my case, you know, I look at it as, you know, the flu mixed with pneumonia. Because that's what it felt like. It just locked up my lungs and, you know, made me sick. That's all it did.
Hang on. Let's dial it back a little bit here. We're getting into an area that's controversial. I think it's something. Well, let's find something else to talk about, please.
Okay. How about truckstop.com? No, I know. I get out my soapbox. I get passionate about things.
No, I understand that. It's just that here's the problem. The problem is that, you know, you're dealing with the international community, and you know how things are perceived in the United States is different than other places.
So, what maps are you all playing?
Well, right now I'm on the Black Mountain, Montana.
I thought you were going to tell me right now you're on Hinterland, same as me.
No, you know, honestly, we played on me and Sci-Fi and Thomas. Jab knows them.
Let's go over here.
We were playing on the Platinum map after they did their update and actually fixed the stuff. And I kind of wanted to find something that kind of had a balance of logging and farming. And that map has 7 big fields on it and has a ton of logs, so that's kind of what we've been playing on.
Did you update it? I saw it got a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, they added a couple of crops to it and something else to fix. I think removable fences. Going to remove the fences.
Yeah, I thought they added some production, some more production to it. Too.
I think they did too. I didn't read the footnotes on it. I just updated it.
I took like a 1 minute cursory look at it real fast one day.
It's not a bad map, honestly. Even with all the trees and stuff like that, it just you can't cut down more than 100 trees at a time because it'll start lagging you out. But
well, that's server life.
Yeah, well, that's also in, you know, personal game too, because there's too much going on. There's so many trees up on that map that you literally can't cut down more than 100 trees at a time.
What's the size of that map?
It's standard.
Whatever Giants allows, yeah.
Standard.
It's all platforms, so it's standard.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 1x map.
Yeah.
But yeah, in essence, but it's like, I would say 80% forestry.
Yeah.
The farming on it is just a little corner. So it's got enough farming to keep someone casually farming.
All right, so since you're Mr. Ambassador, I got a question for you to push up. What does Giants recommend how many trees should be on a map?
I don't know if they would tell a recommendation, but my guess would be the number of trees that are on their maps. Listen, in theory, their maps are going to be designed and balanced around the weakest link, which will always
systems, yeah.
and forever be console.
Yeah.
And with this generation, PS4 and Xbox One. So they have to have maps that run well on the weakest link. And people will be like, well, Giants maps, they don't have a lot of trees. Well, we know from other maps that have lots of trees are a big performance sink, right? So they probably don't have a lot of trees because of that.
See, that's one thing I wish Giants would come out and do, is I wish they would come out and say, you know, hey, to optimize the gameplay, we make the recommendations of these things for map making. Like, you know, no more than X amount of trees, no more, you know, X amount of percentage of the map not being farmable, you know, and that kind of stuff, but they don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tree limit, right? We've all run into that. I try to put a tree down that says no more trees allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, with PC playing, there's a script that will override anything. So, right, you drop a script in and it just raises that limit to some ridiculous level, and you go back to putting your trees down. But for console players, they can't do that. So when they have a map that starts out with more trees than the limit, and they can't plant trees until they cut some down, right? I'll hear comments like, I cut 100 trees down, I still couldn't plant any. This map's awful. Well, it probably has thousands of trees over the limit, not just a couple.
Did you know there's a terraform limit?
Like the height?
No. So, like, once you start terraforming the map, there's a point that you can only terraform so much, and once you get to that point, you can't terraform anymore. I actually knew a guy that hit the limit in 19. Which I was impressed by.
No. Well, it says there's an undocumented foliage layer limit in 19, likely also in 17. What's the foliage layer do? Other than just, like, number of types of foliage?
Do you guys still have access to being able to submit questions to the staff to get answers? Or
Yeah.
did they do away with that?
Yeah. Of course, it doesn't mean they'll answer.
Well, I was about to say, can I ask you how often they answered those questions? Or is that a no-no?
I would say it's not a no-no. And I would say, realistically, I don't know how often, because I don't really keep track of numbers of questions that go unanswered.
Because I do know this, right? There's people I've reached out to in the past, and sometimes the questions get asked, and sometimes they don't. Do you think they'll ever reopen the ambassador program?
So I think they've talked for almost a year now about restructuring the ambassador program, and we would find out more later. And well, it's now close to a year later, and we still haven't really heard anything.
Yeah, so you're hearing the same things I've heard.
So I don't know what they're planning on doing with respect to the ambassador program. I have a feeling that they may be wanting to instill some sort of like, I would say performance, but some sort of metric on, right, to remain active, you need to be, I think they have some ambassadors in the channel that pretty regularly aren't active, at least within the ambassador Discord, which doesn't mean that they're not active ambassadoring, if you will. But I think they're probably going to implement some some things with respect to if you're going to be in the ambassador program, and you either need to be a creator or you need to be something that puts you out there in the face of other players, right? In order to be the voice of
The voice of the voiceless.
to some degree, yeah, to be able to pull information back from the players and provide that to Giants, and then when appropriate, be able to do the reverse, be somewhat of a voice from Giants to players, a sounding board, if you will.
Well, I'll
and
tell
everything.
you what I hope they do one day. I would love to see them come up with the round tables where they invite people from specific areas of expertise in farming sim. You know, from map makers to modders that make, you know, equipment, to people that specialize in small equipment, large equipment, animal husbandry, you know, that kind of thing, and basically have once a month podcast of, you know, hey, what are your communities talking about right now? And basically throw some questions out there, or they ask us questions of what our community would like to see, and then maybe a month later, you know, it's like, all right, you guys asked us these questions. Here's Giant's official answers or stances on these questions, and then talk about it, elaborate on it, and then, you know, bring up new topics.
Where are we selling stones? Where do they go?
Yeah, sell them.
All right. So I think they somewhat did that with their podcast. Now they haven't done a podcast for a little while, but I think that's maybe due to other things, conventions, and prep now for FarmCon and all that. But they kind of did that at some point with their podcasts. Especially when they were like live streaming the podcast, because then like you could put questions in and then they could respond to select questions. Yeah, like a sort of subject matter experts, as you say, or people who really focus on certain aspects of the game to come together and provide a sounding board to Giants about not only their frustrations but other players' frustrations, or feedback on, hey, you did a really great job here, or have you thought about adding this functionality? And then as a sounding board where Giants could go back to them and go and talk about things or stuff. And I think a lot of that, a lot of where I come from with some of my general frustrations with Giants is I attribute a lot of it to them not being American. And I attribute a lot of their lack of communication to
Hang on a second. Wait. Let me turn you up a little bit more. Okay, go on.
All right, I attribute a lot of their lack of communication to being, maybe that's just how Europeans are, or maybe that's just how Germans are. And I don't have to interact with them, Germans in general, with much regularity, so I just don't understand that. Because coming from an American point of view, North American point of view, U.S., whatever, typically we see it as, you know, I ask a question of you, there's some obligation in my head that you are obligated to provide me an answer. And that answer could be as simple as, I really can't go into that, but it's an answer. But a lot of times we'll ask Giants a question that we get into the community, we come up with ourselves, and it's crickets. I think you're like, did they read it?
So, here's my question on the whole thing. Well, actually, I got two of them.
All right, Bossman
One.
says he agrees with you dealing with Europeans quite a bit. He says he has that issue too.
So, going back to, the whole podcast thing or, roundtable thing, how are you going to weed out the same questions over and over and over? I mean, you might not get an answer or know if they've read it, but maybe they've gotten that question 1,000 times before you asked yours. So, how do you weed that stuff out?
So there's been times that Kermit or the community coordinators have come to us as ambassadors and said, "Hey, can you ask your community what they think? Like, let's say, Silver Run Forest came out, and what's the word on the street with the roller coaster, the boat, and some of these other things that were new with Platinum, and whatever your thoughts on a dev cycle longer than 2 years and everything, or what would you like to see added to Farm Sim? Like, bring the community's wish list back to us." And in a lot of those cases, I would post on my community tab, and I would literally copy everyone's response and stick it in a Google Doc and do a little bit of formatting to it, but pretty much leave it raw as is. And then, it's up to them to take that input and see. And then,
Well,
there might be 10
problem
people that ask the same question or a very similar question. And then they know that, oh, that's a far more popular question than some of these other questions. But at the end of the day, it's their
The way I see
information.
it is it's a communication issue, right? It's like getting one side to talk to the other side, and it's getting answers, right? So, like, for example, 19 we had lineman contracts, right? 22 we don't. Why? Right? You added 2 new mechanics, or 3 new mechanics to the game: rock picking, mulching, and rolling. Yet there's no contracts for those. Well, why did you add them to the game if there's no contracts? And if the answer is we're maxed out on how many contracts we can have, then okay, let us know. If it was an oversight and it's like, oh, well, we didn't realize that you guys liked lineman contracts, we'll bring them back. But it seems like the answer is always, well, the modding community will fix it.
Well, and here's the other thing too, Jab, that, and I'm not defending the Giants or, defending the general public, using, but you don't know what went behind the scenes before they come out with 22 as far as that part goes, because you might have had 50 million people coming to Giants and saying that we don't want the lineman contracts, or we don't want the rolling contracts, or, we're happy with the harvesting and the planting and the plowing and all that, but they never got the other side of it, the other 50 million people that might be playing the game, what their opinions are. So they just took the 50 million people that they heard from and implemented it in the game.
Well, and if that's the case, then at least come out and communicate that to the community and say, this is why we made the decisions that we made, or none of your business. That's an acceptable answer too.
I firmly agree with that. But, on the other hand of that, now all of a sudden they're getting the people like yourself and myself, or, we do the contracts and we want those lineman contracts because they're easy to do. They're quick money makers, quick turnarounds. But yet, we don't have those lineman contracts. We don't have those rolling contracts because they were never implemented in the game, because the other 50 million people that spoke up about it got their wish, but the other 50 million people didn't get their wish because they didn't speak up. So it's kind of a communication breakdown between us, them, and them to us.
No, I disagree. It's a developer's problem, because here's the thing, right? What's the one thing that they wanted you to do with the rocks that you picked up out of those fields with their new mechanic was to make lime. So then they did away with the lineman contracts. They were at 19, but they gave us rocks to make lime. Doesn't make any sense. That's a development flaw in the game.
I don't know if they made
I'm
rocks
just
to make
trying-
lime. They made rocks to sell. Right? We didn't get the
Yeah, but
ability to
they
do
were-
rocks with lime. That's all a modding thing.
But the thing of it is, though, is that if you look at Elm Creek, where do you sell the rocks?
At the whatchamacallit center. I mean that's just how I see it, right? I see it as it's part of the development. All right, now I'm going to give my expertise when it comes from working for alpha, for doing in-house alpha, in-house beta testing for gaming companies in the past. When I look at the fact that, you know, the biggest things in 22 was cross-platform, and then adding these new mechanics in a game that didn't exist before. Yeah, they're great things, but then it's like this. All right, we want you to buy a rock thing, but then you don't have a way of recouping your money for the rock thing because you can't do contracts with it. Now, this is also going on the basis of a player that plays hardcore like I do. Not everybody does.
Well, I know I turned rocks off after they did an update, and rocks spawned like 3 times more than they used to. They're not too bad on this map, but there at one point it was so
You're on PV's map, aren't you?
so much.
Oh, I have rock. PV Canyon Crossing. Yeah, that's one of the maps I'm on. The other map I'm on is Upper Mississippi River Valley, but we have rocks turned off on that one.
Are you on the you're playing on the PV map though, right? The 12-hour stream?
No. We're on Hinterland.
Okay.
Does anyone know if Giants pulls data is on the things that are actually used in the game? I don't know. I don't know if they would have the ability to know that.
I don't know
would-
if the
they
game
would-
has phone home
They
metrics.
would on the downloads. Like if you're downloading it, putting it in the game, they would know. But as far as what you're actually buying in the game, no, they wouldn't. That'd be kind of hard.
Yeah, I don't think they would have the ability to see if we toggle rocks on or off.
I don't remember, but if the game phoned home, you would likely get a. No, you may not get a firewall posting asking you to approve its communication outside your network. I'm pretty sure you get it when you fire up multiplayer.
You get a call stack is what you get, because it does show that the server is being calling out. Because if you lose communication with the main server and the server like lags out, if I've gone in there a couple of different times where I've gone into my log files and seen a call stack error for call out, no communication. And that's usually when the server goes down. But I don't know if that's on the data center's end or if that's actually on Giant's end. So I have no idea. But I don't think your personal game, because your personal game is mostly offline, unless you're logging on to download a mod or something.
Right, but I mean, I don't even know if Giants does any sort of A/B testing or pitching ideas out to some player-based group. Maybe they do for gold partners. Maybe they seek other feedback from gold partners, but I can tell you, leading up to 22, We as ambassadors had no information that wasn't publicly available. And even though we've all signed NDAs in order to be a part of the ambassador program, some days we're lucky to get press release information more than 24 hours ahead of time.
Yeah, you're lucky if you can get press release information more than 24 hours in advance, and half the time it's only 12 hours in advance.
Yeah, yeah. And like a lot of the time, yeah, so I consider myself lucky if I have an email the day before something happens by like 2 p.m. That means that I can come home and I have an evening to put something together. But then there's days I'll wake up, I'll scan email as I'm getting ready to go to work. I'll see an email that came in at 3 in the morning, and it'll have, don't release this information before basically 8 in the morning. My time. It's like, oh wow, thanks. I got a whopping 5 hours notice in the middle of the night for me. But also that means for Europeans, they got notice after they already went to work, or right before they were going to work, that this is being announced at 2 p.m. So it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot by not getting your spokespeople this information.
Yeah, see, it's a little easier for me if I get information and I go live at 3, which is after the don't say anything. We can talk about it while I'm live because I don't have to make a video.
Right.
Guys that have to make a video, I mean, that could be, depending on what it is, that could be 2 or 3 hours worth of work.
So like for the fact sheets for the mobile game, the first set of fact sheets, we didn't get any. We know about it when they released it to the public. It's like, oh, they're doing fact sheets for the mobile game. Here are the fact sheets. Oh, okay. Glad we got notice. And then we get fact sheets, and I just decided I wasn't gonna try to do fact sheet videos. I was just gonna post it on the community tab. But I do try to do a fact sheet video. But even a 4-minute, 5-minute, 6-minute fact sheet video probably it's got a good hour and a half of 2 hours of effort in it. Because I write a script. It's one of the few videos I actually write a script for. And then I record the voiceover, which usually takes 7 or 8 takes. And then piece it all together.
You mean you guys don't wing it?
I wing app videos. I wing. Some days I thought about releasing
the
a
average
video.
person doesn't. I don't think they realize how much time, effort. I mean, so like, you make YouTube videos. So like for a 20-minute video, how much gameplay footage do you need to make 20 minutes or 30-minute video, and in between gameplay itself, and then how much is it editing?
Of course, it depends on the content, right? Depends on if I can just play straight 20 minutes. So when I did recorded Let's Play videos, before I even record a video, I'm thinking, all right, what do I want to do? What I want to say? What's the message I want to get out about this video? Right? And if it's role play, I have to what's this fictional character doing? What's going on in their life? What are they going to just randomly talk about? Right? I got to come up with this whole backstory. What equipment do I want to use? Like, if let's say I do a video and it's the whole process of mowing, tedding, windrowing, and baling. So that's 4 things. Let's say I want to make that video 30 minutes long. Well, I need to do 4 segments that can't be no more than 8 minutes each. Or if one segment's more than 8 minutes, I gotta cut back from that, right? So it's a lot of thought process and planning. Some people just record and then edit things out. Like some people might hit record, they might play for 3 hours and make a 30-minute video out of 3 hours of gameplay by just cutting things. I tend to be a little more linear in my thinking. So I'll record a segment and I'll stop recording. And then I'll play until I feel that, okay, let's do the next segment, and I'll hit record and I'll record the next segment. Then I'll stop. And then I'll have, when it comes to editing, I'll have all my clips saved and they'll be in an order. They'll be in the order I want to put them in, the timeline. So I think for me that's easier and faster than having this giant 3-hour-long video that you gotta chop up and piece together. But that's how I think. Other people think better at just having, let me do this long video, let me chop it up. But
So do you do the kind of basics like what Daggerwin does? When you do let's play stuff?
I would tell you the truth. If I've watched one Daggerwin video, I don't know it. I don't watch his stuff. I don't think I've ever watched his stuff.
I watched a few videos when he started that survival roleplay, but you know, I'm more into other things than all of that. I mean, he's kind of getting that repetition stuff going down, but
I can tell you what I tried to do on any one series. I tried to never do a video where I did the same thing twice.
Right.
So when you first start a series, it's easy because you haven't done anything, right?
Right.
But after you get 15, 20 videos, 30 videos in, you're like, well, I've already done a video where I bale silage. So I really don't want to do another baling silage video. But if I have silage to bale, now I have to do that off camera. And maybe
so you don't do the time lapse crap that like what some people do, where if they've got to do a let's say your silage, it comes back around to that time, you got 3 or 4 or 5 videos in that doesn't require that, and then you get into the silage again, because it's come back around and you got to make some more silage to, either for the animals or for selling. You don't do the time lapse, just rolling through it, and then 30 seconds before you quit the end of it, that you come back in and start doing the voiceovers.
some videos I would do a time-lapse segment to demonstrate that the process was done, or demonstrate the process, right? But I would try to avoid doing that with a lot of regularity, because I felt like time-lapse is a crutch. It's a good tool to use to fill and tell a story like, yeah, we got a lot of work to do, I've been working all day, right? One on Black Mountain, Montana in possibly 17 or 19, early 19, I did a time lapse, and the role-playing story was, it was drone footage. So I did a time lapse where I just was up in the air, and then I hired a helper, and it was stationary drone footage. And I even put on the recording after the fact a little blinking red, like recording light. But I usually see time lapses as a little bit of a cheat, right?
To be real honest with you, I think that map is probably one of the worst ones to actually do like a let's play on, only because there's just only so much you can do about cutting wood down. You can't go in there and buy the whole map when you're flat broke. you know, you can only buy a certain section of the map and then, you know, go from there. And then, you know, if you play with seasons, then you're kind of just, you know, getting yourself all wrapped up into something that you shouldn't be getting yourself wrapped up into. You know, because like I said, there's just only so many trees that you can cut down and not make it boring.
Yeah. So I as a personal gameplay, I avoid forestry at all costs. I've forested enough in 17. I'm done forestry.
You know, I'm kind of like with Jab, you know, on this matter that, you know, you can add some forestry in it, but just don't overdo it. You know, if you're trimming the trees around the field to make sure your planter doesn't get caught up on the trees, you know, that's one thing. Or if you're cutting down a little section of trees because you want to expand your fields or something like that, then, you know, I can understand that. But, you know, if you're just going to go on a like Crater Lake or Yogi Bear map where it's nothing more than just trees, you know, that's not a map for, you know, a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, because that, you know, you're going to lose your audience because they're going to get tired of seeing you cut down trees.
Right. And then you just have a ton of off-camera time to get through that, or you skip.
Well, it
skip whole months.
It also depends on what you're doing with said trees. If you're pioneer farming and you're basically, you know, clearing the land so you can make fields and stuff like that, that ends up being a lot of off-camera work, right? Or it ends up being work that is some people that will get upset and say, "Oh, you're using a T-Rex, right? You're wood chipping everything. You're not truly lumberjacking." If you're using it for productions, kind of like on PV maps, I can see some of it, you know, to build things, but it's also, at the end of the day, you do you. Whatever you're happy with is what you're happy with. What your community wants to see is what your community wants to see. It ends up being,
right,
you know, why are you doing what you're doing? You know, are you trying to make everybody happy? If you're trying to make everybody happy, then doing a whole bunch of logging is not the way to go about it.
Right.
You know,
And
someone's
if you're trying
got
to keep your
super speed
viewership
on.
up, if you're trying to get your viewership up, you're not going to do it by logging either, because you don't have the variety.
Well, not necessarily.
You know,
if you specialize in it.
well, that's the thing though. But how many people do you know that actually specialize in it?
Okay, we're cultivating now. That's what you do in the other field.
Yeah.
Because, you know, me personally, I like your streams. You know, you make it fun, you make it exciting. You're not, you know, you might be planting, you might be plowing, you might be doing this, doing that. But the thing of it is that you're doing something different every day, or on most of the streams. But people that just go out there and do just nothing but logging, they're gonna lose. You know, they're not gonna build up, because, you know, the people that are watching them are gonna get tired of watching them because they don't have the variety in them. You know, you might be doing a little bit of logging today, you know, and put that in your stream notes saying, hey, you know, we're gonna be doing clearing some land today, you know, kind of giving them, you know, that, and then tomorrow it might be, you know, we're plowing in the field and we're gonna get some planting done and we're gonna go do some harvesting.
Well, here's the other thing. There's a big difference between live content and video content too. Two different animals. Two different ways of going about things.
So yeah, so I did a series started it in 17 on Emerald Coast, and I did a start from basically zero. Now this was 17, so you didn't have to buy a forest, right? Trees were free, if you will. But I started with an old beat-up C10 player side pickup mod. I had no money in my pocket, and I owned a chainsaw.
Hey, quick question: were you the one that did the Lassie one, or was that Raznet?
Raz did
okay,
Classy. Classy.
Yeah, Classy.
Classy.
I couldn't remember if it was you or Raz.
So on that, my premise was it was a role play. I had just moved into town. I literally had no money. right? I think we started the video series out like I was walking
Actually,
out
we
of the
got to
diner
scan the field.
or something. Oh, okay. And initially it was, you know, cut down trees, chop them up into little logs, and toss them in the truck and sell those until I could afford a cheap tractor with a trailer, and then I sold longer logs, and it was, my idea was to play 10 years of seasons, and by the time it bridged FS 17 and 19, I only got 7 years out of gameplay before I was just burned out on the map. But over 7 years of seasons, without really cheating money in, without skipping a lot of time, I went from owning nothing to owning the entire map, all the farms, and it morphed. The roleplay morphed into a. I love the. Growing up, I loved the Bob Newhart show, and on the Bob Newhart show, there's this stick where this guy had two brothers. The brothers never talked.
Yeah.
Right, it was
My
Larry,
brother
Daryl, and Daryl.
My other brother, Daryl.
Right. So I was Larry. I made myself Larry, and I had hired helpers, and they would always be Daryl and Daryl, right? And one Daryl always liked to stop and eat at this buffet in town, so he never got any of his work done. And then when 19 came around, the farmhouses like changed. So like, so we had a tragic fire. He was frying a turkey for the first time, and he burned his house down. And I put down like the 19 trailer that had a hole in it, hole in the roof.
Yep.
It's like he had to live in that while they rebuilt the house. And then the first.
So your Let's Play was really more like role plays.
At that time it was, and then I just stopped having a lot of creativity.
The whole thing of it is that, you know, that right there, you know, you're setting it up to where you have to go out and cut the trees down. So that sets your audience up to know that, hey, you know, this episode might be a bunch of logging, whereas, you know, 5 episodes down the line, you know, we'll actually eventually get to a field. But,
oh yeah, we stopped cutting trees once we didn't need it for money.
But there's guys out there that I've seen that do nothing but just logging. You know, they just, that's all they do. And if you look at their stats on it, it's not very high. You know, if
well, that's why you get to turn things off, real, right?
They'd be at the bottom of the list. I mean, they'd be so down there that you wouldn't even be able to see them, because people like myself, we don't want to see nothing but logging. You know, we want to see the farming, we want to see the planting, the plowing and the liming, and, you know, see the harvest at the end of the season type of thing. You know, logging to me in 22 and 19,
yeah, well, that was a classic.
More or less based around seasons. You know, because you couldn't plant, you couldn't plow, you couldn't do anything.
It's something to do during the winter.
Right, and you could make a little bit of money off of it, and, you know, get through the winter. But these guys are taking above and beyond, where they just, that's all they do. You know, and I get that you enjoy logging, because I do. You know, I get into my tips where I enjoy logging, and I'll go in there and cut down millions of trees, but, you know, I just, you know, at some point I just go, you paid enough is enough, time to go jump in a combine or a tractor and start cultivating fields, you know, for something different.
Well, here's the other thing you gotta take into consideration. When you're talking about content creators, they're also artists, and they have a vision of what it is they want to do or what they're trying to accomplish. And sometimes, you know, they're just happy doing what they're doing, and they're just doing it. Sometimes it's just to pass time away, nothing more than that. And they're not worried about building a community or building a mission.
That's true. But to be quite honest with you, if you're gonna make content, then why not have a little fun with it?
Maybe to them that is fun. I mean, I understand what you're saying when you say, you know, it's not your cup of tea of watching.
It's a.
You just want to see the progress, is all it is.
Oh yeah, it's a build it they'll come thing. So, I mean, the people that do a lot of logging, they'll attract a logging audience that wants to see logging, or people that are just flat out impressed at how well they can do logging, that they just watch because they're in awe.
Yeah,
like,
especially
wow,
if you're using like the FDR equipment because they didn't know it existed.
like you make this look so easy, and I have a hard time with it, right? So I just like watching it because how can you all do it this well, right?
It's kind of like with me and my old tractors. I have a lot of people that love to watch me play this way, but they're not going to play this way.
Well, the smoke seems to be easing up a little bit. I don't know if that's because of the wind or because they're getting the fires out up there in Alberta.
Okay, it'd be a lot easier to do this if it wasn't a circle. If you could take soil samples and it's a square, it'd be a heck of a lot better. But then to go back on your amount of time it takes, you know, type of thing. It's like my, you know, the map videos I do. If it's a 30-minute, well, that would be a short video. If it's a 30-minute map video, I probably have a good hour and a half into it before I even start editing. Because I probably spend 15 to 20 minutes looking at the map before I even think about recording. And I take a couple notes on things I want to make sure I can pull off the top of my head. And then I got to record it. And then piece it all together, right, in Adobe. And then upload it.
So are you one of them ones that, like, if you're checking out a new map, you run around the map and or drive around the map and see different things and kind of get an idea?
Yeah. So I mean, I got a system I do, but yeah. So I'll fire the map up for the first time, and one of the first things I do is I run the console command to see what production we have on the map. And I'll take a note of that. Then I'll look at the sell points, and I'll look at I'll just kind of run around the farm, walk around the farm, and just see what I can see. Get a feel for where things are. I'll typically fly around the map before I record anything to get a sense of where things are in general. Try to figure out which way I want to go when I actually do the map tour. And everything to get some assembly of order to it. The very, very first map videos I did way back in 17, I call my map videos first impressions. So the very, very first ones I would do would be literally, I've never seen this map. I open it up and I'm recording as I'm literally seeing it for the first time. And from a premise of me giving you my raw first thoughts of a map, that worked great. But from a viewing point, it's like I'm watching this guy who has no idea where he's going try to tell me where things are on a map, but yet he has no idea where anything is. So that didn't work out so hot. So then I had a wonderful piece of advice from a content creator that has left us and gone to the sky, but Eustace Farmer told me, you know, it would probably be best if you just kind of looked at the map, took some notes, and then recorded. It would flow better, right? So that's what I started doing, and I think it works. Thank you. Thank you very much, Farmer G, for the donation.
Like jab and just run all over the map, going, "Oh, look at this place! Oh, look at this place! Oh, look at this place! Oh, look at this place!"
Well, that's he's exploring.
Do you find by making videos
that's his process.
That your consumer only has a allotted amount of time to be able to consume said video?
I honestly don't concern the amount of time they don't or don't have. To be honest, because I consider my content's long form, and there's plenty of people that'll do a 5 or 10 minute video on what a map looks like, but you're not learning anything about the map. It serves a different audience and a different purpose. So the video that just says, here are the sell points, right? And you get some nice flyovers to sell points, or here's the farm and you get a flyover of the farm, and you're all said and done in 15 or 20 minutes on a map, or maybe a 4x map. Let's say it's 15 minutes. It's like, my thought process is you can't. How do you cover a 4x map in 15 minutes? You just can't. All you can do is you can give the person a gist of what things look like. So what I do is what I would do even if I was a player. Before I would decide to play on a map, I would kind of scope it out, scout it out, look at it. And in order to look at it, I kind of have to dive in, right? I gotta sink my teeth into it. And I'd rather know if it's going to be something I enjoy before I spend 10 or 15 hours on it. So I figure if I'm going to maybe save 10 or 15 hours of my time before I decide a map's really not for me, 45 minutes to an hour isn't that big of an investment. And if you gotta eat it in small chunks, then eat it in small chunks. Or in 22, I started putting timestamps down in the description. So if there's certain things that you want to get at, like I do flyovers, then I do a drive around, and the flyover is just kind of pretty cursory. This is where things are, and this is how it looks from above, and how it all kind of flows together. Maybe there's people that only watch that segment, and that's all they care about.
Hey, Dixie says you do amazing reviews on your maps.
Thank you, Dixie. But yeah, that's fine. If they only want to watch, or sometimes I'll say, someone will leave a smarty comment going, your content's great at 2x. All right, well, what you just told me is you think I talk too slow or I'm boring. All right, but okay. I'm glad that my content is palatable to you at twice the speed. Right? Yeah, and there's some people like, why do you go through what's the starting equipment is? Because everyone deletes the starting equipment. Well, not everyone does. And some people like to play with the starting equipment, or they at least like to have a general idea of how much money they might get if they sell all the starting equipment. And there's people that'll tell me, I only play in Farm Manager. And I don't like maps where on Farm Manager you have a farm. Like, I want to be able to build it. Right? So that's an important aspect. So I try to cover as much as I can cover and hit on as many different possible play styles and information that people might want to know, and then leave it up to the viewer to really decide how much of it they really want to watch. Like, this type of map's easy peasy because it's a wilderness map. There's sell points at one spot, right? There's a starting farm at one spot, and then the rest is just land. think my
Has there
missus-
ever been a new map that you didn't do a review for?
Oh, there's plenty. Not on the mod hub. I kind of have a standing. I'll do any map that drops on the mod hub because I figure they're actually worth it. Sometimes that gets stretched. I've had maps where
Did you do PV County when it came out?
No. Oh. So there's, I mean, in theory, Giants test their maps, right? So I figure they passed Giants testing, then they must be error-free and good enough. But in 19 and 17, there's plenty of maps I would not do a video on because I'm like, I can't do a video and be favorable on this map, so I'm not going to do anything at all. If I fire a map up and it's got just error after error in a log, it's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. In 19, I didn't do any map that had Global Company in it, for the most part, because I didn't agree with how Global Company did their business. So I didn't cover any of those. But as general, I'll cover anything that's in the Giants mod hub. And in 22, I just don't have the time resources to go looking for maps outside the mod hub. But if people tell me about maps that are outside the mod hub, I'll look at them and cover them if I can.
Yeah, because that's something I wonder about, because it seems like there's just as many maps out there that's not on the mod hub as there is on the mod hub.
Right. And one reason I really stopped looking outside the mod hub was it became very, very difficult to figure out where a map came from. So I'm a big proponent of download from the original link that the map author put up there. I very much do not like rehosting websites, modhub.us and the sundry of all those other sites that make their business to grab every other mod that's published and then host it so they can get ad revenue for other people's work.
Yeah.
And they obfuscate who uploaded the map, where the map came from, and simply having someone's name in the credits isn't good enough for me. Because I figure if the map author uploaded it to modhub.us, I'll swallow my pride and do a video on it. But I gotta be dang well sure it came from them, right? So it just gets hard. And with the prevalence of Facebook, people posting things on Facebook, I don't understand Facebook. I think it was written by a bunch of millennials that don't have an attention span, and it makes no sense to me, the organization. Unless someone links it to Facebook, I guarantee I can't find it. Is there a line by point in town?
Just F12 of it.
And then itch.io is great. But again, it's one of those, can you browse itch.io and just look and see what's out there, or you have to kind of know XYZ has an itch page. And things. So I wish more people would send things to Giants. I wish Giants would have 2 different sections of Mod Hub for let's say verified content.
What's the incentive for a map maker to send something to Giants?
It's I would say the eyeballs. And
So, like, I'll give you an example.
to get it on console. It's the only way to get anything on console.
I think there's very few map makers that care if their maps are on console or not.
and that's fine. It's up to them. Some people don't send things to Giants because they just don't want to deal with the Giants' hassle of, look, this map is error free, right? It runs fine, but you're telling me that you're not going to approve it because it doesn't have the right German translation, and I don't know German, so all I can do is use Google Translate, and that's what I get, right? So cut me some slack here. Or they don't like the texture graphic format. And there's plenty of people that don't really care. But I think if Giants had kind of a mod hub that was, let's say, verified and tested, and then a side mod hub that was kind of just not the Wild West of uploads, but unverified, untested type of a thing, where it was still maybe curated for stolen content, right? People could put takedown notices on stuff, and they could provide evidence that they were the author, not the person that uploaded it, but to have an untested mod hub and then a tested mod hub. And you could upload to the untested mod hub. And maybe the untested mod hub was PC only. But still, it would be a
All right, I got a question for you. I don't know if you know the answer to this. So, let's say a map maker puts a map up on the mod hub, right? It has to have more than X amount of star ratings, and then it has to have X amount of downloads before they get paid. How much do they get paid?
I have no idea. I would suspect you probably can't live off of it. Unless you became a mod factory and just pumped them out like crazy. But I also think it could probably be a nice supplemental. But I don't know what their click rate is, the pay rate per thousand downloads or whatever it is.
Yeah, you see that's where the transparency thing comes in. You would think that Giants would have that information and say, and give you an example and say, all right, for every 1,000 downloads of your mod that's downloaded, as long as you're above this is what you get paid.
And maybe they do if you sign up for a developer account and sign up for a mod hub account. I don't know. Right? But it's not public information on their website. It's not. It'd be nice maybe if there was a page on the mod hub.
I mean,
I don't know.
Should it be public information that what Giants pays, what they pay in, this situation? You have to have, whatever the rules is to be compensated. Here's the rules to be compensated, and when you're compensated, it's this. Or do certain modders get paid more than other modders based on how much product they have on there?
They would probably argue or come back with why should it be information we publish publicly? It would be information that would be between the modder and us what our CPM rate is. Why should we provide that information to just the general public?
Incentive to learn how to make maps, or incentive to upload your maps to be tested.
Yeah. Although my thoughts are, if you're modding to make money, then you're modding for the wrong reason. I think there's plenty of people out there that are modding for the wrong reason. And we've run into that. Like in 19 Giants had a policy where it was like, rush to be first. Like if I had a, whatever the heck this tractor is, this is. Right? If I uploaded a whatever this international 3788 is, right? If I was the first to put a 3788 mod on the mod hub, and then you come through later and you have a far, far superior product, but it's a 3788. Nope, sorry, we're going to reject you because we already have one. And there were people that were basically sniping projects. Some modder would post, we're starting to work on this thing. Right, here's some early Blender images of our work on this thing. And then someone would do a shoddy job of hacking together a mod that was the same model. You get it on the mod hub and then basically lock the other person out. So we complained a lot about that on the Bastard channel, and they probably heard a lot of it from other people as well. So in 22, they don't have that, you know, once a year done policy. And sometimes you'll get people like, how many 3788s do we really need? Right? But I think it's a better policy to, if we have 1,000 of the exact same truck on the mod hub, it's annoying, but hopefully they're different enough, and maybe they need to be different enough, be different, and then let the players decide which one's better than the others. Farmer G says he got 2052 euros. If I would read that in dollars, $20.52 of euro money for 39,000 downloads last month. And that's with a mod rated 4+.
Say that again.
So, Farmer G, he's the guy that did the variable bale capacity mod. He's got others up there. He got paid, and I'm gonna say US dollars, but it's in euros. Okay, he got paid $20.52 of euro money for 39,000 downloads last month with a mod that has a 4+ rating. If your mod's rated less than 4, it's a different pay rate.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for that information. I greatly appreciate it.
All right, so lime, what do we do next?
Planting oats.
Okay, I should say, what do you do next? I know what I would do next. That might be different than what you would do. Golden Eye says that much money is 22 US right now.
Hello, Jan. Tony, you're gonna wash all our tractors? Is that true?
No, I'm not gonna wash a single thing.
You all wash stuff?
Nope.
Oh. Because, you know, clean tractor is a John Deere, and we know they don't get used in the fields anyway.
Hey, but at least you played the game, right?
A working man's tractor, it's got dirt on it. And under the dirt, it's red.
What do you need me to do, Jeff?
Let's see. Grab one of the grass cutters, the swather, and go. Let's get field 41 going.
What are you doing, Tony?
How you doing, FARMER-KLEIN?
Saw you drop in.
Just pitching in and helping.
Alright. I'm going to be on for about another 40. Another 40 minutes, and then I'll come back at 6 to do another 3-hour stint to close it out with you. But I agree. I think communication could go a long way. I think there's a communications divide that is possibly, and I think you've confirmed it with a viewer on your side, that's just a European thing. Europeans are less forthcoming to communicate as compared to maybe the those of us on this side of the Atlantic, I think we're maybe a little bit more. We feel maybe people have a right to know more information, or feel that we have a right to ask a question and get a response. Any response, just not silence. We got a guy in my Discord. I don't really know why, but he really seems to get upset when Giants is on a holiday and they don't officially announce that they're going to be on a holiday, and therefore there's going to be no mods drop. So I asked Giants, I'm like, could you give us as ambassadors a heads up as to when, right, you might be,
What the holidays are.
right, what your holidays are. And basically I got back, I don't really see why you need to know this. Well, I don't need to know it, but the community gets a little bent out of shape when there's no mods drop. And no one says there's a guaranteed mod drop on any day. But if they knew that there would definitely not be a mod drop because it's a holiday, then I guess maybe they're not going to be trolling the mod hub and hitting F5 every 10 minutes waiting for something to drop.
I cry on those days.
So
Or they sleep in, or they can sleep in that day.
right, whatever. So, you know, is it really a big deal if you say, hey, you know, in the month of May, these are our official holidays? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Either way, I really don't care if Giants is on holiday. And honestly, if there's no maps that drop on any one given day, I say hallelujah, I can actually do what I want tonight, and I'm not being forced to make a map video. But other people, like, if there's no mod drop, as Tony said, he gets emotional and he has to recenter himself.
The
Uh-oh.
only one that got booted?
Jababbo left.
I'm
Yep.
here.
Yep. I'm just gonna shove you out
How
of
do
the
I
way.
get booted from my own server?
You angered Giants.
We were talking. Blame Tony. Exactly.
Oh, starting early.
Oh, do you all do that? I hashtag blame Rabbit Rob. I'm glad other people blame Tony. So, you know, I think it's, I mean, companies on this side of the continent globe post their public holidays or their holidays, right? You can go on lots of websites and find out when various companies have holidays. Maybe that's not a European thing.
Well, I think here's the other thing. The other thing is here in the U.S., companies have very few holidays that they take. I mean,
I think it's just common. I think it's just common courtesy to let everybody know, get everybody on the same page, let them know what their holidays are, so that way people are informed that, you know, whether it's a mod drop, whether it's a map, you know, whether it's them not hearing back because they submitted something, you know, and they're on holiday, that, you know, it's just common courtesy to communicate that, hey, we're going to be off on December 25th and 26th, you know. But that's just my personal opinion. Sorry.
Right. Right. So, I mean, for me, I feel that working with Farm Sim, working with Giants and everything, streaming, it opens your eyes, and I feel that you become a bit more acknowledge that there's other people, other cultures, other things going on that aren't just you or your immediate surroundings or your own, you know, your own holiday. There's holidays that you don't have, that you never heard of, that other people do. And I've said before that, you know, world peace is you get a bunch of world leaders together and you make them all do farm sim on a multiplayer server.
There you go.
right?
Are you kidding? First, you have to get them to agree what map you're going to play with and what type of equipment they're going to play with, because half of them be like, I can't drive a John Deere.
Oh, that's dictated by the overlord. But yeah, that.
Hey, just so y'all know that I'll be off next weekend for 2 weeks bar mitzvah. So don't bother me, okay?
Is that your holiday?
Yeah, that's my holiday.
Okay.
No, I won't be taking my holiday vacation until the second week of July.
Oh, we gotta talk smack about something.
Then I got to go see the truck and tractor pulls and be a big boy and watch the smokers go down the.
You going to see
Correct.
Bigfoot?
Gravedigger.
I said I get to go see the big boys blow smoke down the track. Not big butt. If you want a big butt, look downward.
Bigfoot's a Ford. It's no. Gravedigger's the one you just see.
No, these are truck and tractor pulls. They're the ones that pull a sled behind them. Kind of like what everybody's trying to implement into the game that shouldn't be in it. Yeah, what is up with all these cop cars and fire trucks and dirt bikes and quads and all kinds of stuff being implemented in it?
Because people like to role play.
We've had
That's
that
the
for
reason why there's a Lamborghini in the game.
we've had bikes for a long time. One of the first farm sim videos I saw was, I think, maybe it was the squad. I don't know, somebody. And he was role playing and he had dirt bikes and he was going to go out and he was going to he was cutting up firewood and they were making a like an off-road dirt bike course and stuff, and I was like, wow, this is a farming game, but these people are doing nothing related to farming. And the game of just lets you do all that.
I don't like the squad when they're role playing.
Well, I mean, it's like
Supply
this,
and
right?
demand.
If you don't have it fling it Friday with Tony, I mean, you don't get your catapult
I
load.
mean,
It's supply and demand. Go look at the top 5 downloaded mods on the mod hub. Just the mod hub, not the weird exotic stuff we're talking about like Lamborghinis. But go look at the top 5 mods on the mod hub that are downloaded and see if they're farming related. It's what people want. You can't argue with what they want, you know?
no.
Yeah, somebody
But
wants it.
On the other hand, it's something that I just don't put in the game. I'll put on farming, logging, trucks, that type of stuff, but not, campers and dirt bikes and quad runners. And, quad is, the quad, don't get me wrong, quad I know a lot of farmers have quads. But, not the high performance quad. They have an old 1997 quad that they run around with.
So you're not gonna get a Segway to ride around?
Oh, good lord. No.
What about a bicycle?
Hey, I'm down for a
Bicycle's
bike.
fine.
Hoff Bergman has bicycle.
There's a bicycle mod.
Yeah, there is.
I'll download a bicycle mod.
It has a trailer on it too.
Yeah, you can put a pallet or a big bag on the back.
Yes, you can.
But the thing that I get irritated about is getting on, modhub.us, because some of the mods are not on the Giants website. So I'll get on there and just see there's something different out there, whatever. And the first 3 pages are nothing but cop cars, fire trucks, and oddball stuff that has nothing to do with Farming Simulator at all.
Yeah, but
I'm
here's
not
the
the only
thing:
one that feels
Farming
that way.
Simulator has a cross-pollination of different games, right? So you got people that are ATS, ETS, but you also got people that do the GTA role play,
Right?
Yeah, I know. Well,
So
Farming Simulator is not GTA.
Like, I've thought about this a lot too, and I get that, because I have a folder full of just trucks, and it's huge. But there's a population, like you said, that doesn't use those whatsoever. You know, they don't need
like me.
right. They don't need the carabinieri vehicles. You know, like Italian cop cars. They don't need all those fancy things. But there is obviously a population of people who play this game that do use those. Now we don't, and the people we play with may not, but there is obviously a population out there that is clamoring for these things.
Right. We're cranky old men that like to play farm sim and actually farm on farm sim.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll have people come in my stream and they'll be like, get this, get that. I want to see this, do this. Why aren't you doing that? Why don't you have this? Or you're not fast farming, you're not doing this. And like, look, I play my way. You can play your way. And they're both fine, right? But I'm not changing the way I play. So, you know, maybe if you need to, you can
Tony,
try
I feel so
someone
left
else.
out. No one ever comes to, people don't come to my stream and tell me things like, I feel left out. All my friends have, you know, they're like, oh yeah, people tell me this and that. And I'm like, I wish they would. I wish they would come in here and try to tell me.
Are you asking
Jeb
for
wants
this?
to argue.
No. Actually, last time someone said something like that, I stopped everything I did. I put the beard camera out. I turned the music off, and I stared straight into the screen, and I was just like, look, this is not Dance Monkey Dance, right? I'm a human being, and treat me as a human being, an individual. Ask me why I don't use those things. I'll explain it to you. But if you're going to demand to me how I play, go find somewhere else to watch.
So you heard it here. Twitch.tv.jababbo. Go check him out, and
Yeah,
whatever
tell
you
me
do,
how to play.
please don't tell him how to play. That he needs to get a fast farming thing hitched on the back so you can harvest and bale and wrap and feed your chickens all at the same time.
You know, talking about the baler and windrower combination, that actually is out here. I know quite a bit of farmers that have the windrowers as well as the.
Yeah, but can you run it at 50 horsepower?
Not at 50 horsepower, no.
Then I never have to worry about it.
You can run it at, you know, with a medium-sized tractor, though.
Oh, Uncle One says you sound good, Tony.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
By the way,
Actually,
Jab,
you don't sound tinny now.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's gonna take
Jab.
some time, but it's getting there.
Quarterback
Appreciate it.
farmers.
Yeah.
you need to play some more OP stuff.
I need to play more OP stuff. Yeah.
Yes, you need to play more OP stuff.
I mean,
Well, I mean, we are going to a 16x map, so I got to play big stuff. It'll be big stuff like this.
No, you need bigger stuff. You need the bigger the combines that'll go 20 miles down in the field and harvest
All right,
everything. That's on
here's
the
what I'm
field.
going to say. Hell no, right?
Like-
That's what I got to say about that.
I shouldn't have to do but more than
It'll
2
never
passes
happen.
to seed this whole field.
It's not like Jab doesn't know where to go if he needs that stuff, right? Like he's just got to send me a message, and I'll jump up and down and be like, send him 10 gigs of mods.
In between you, Lead Dog, and Dixie, yeah.
No, I just threw that out there because he was, you know, we were on that conversation. Jab knows I give him crap about it, but you know, in all reality of it, I don't play with a whole lot of OP stuff either. So.
Are you kidding? I want someone to give me attachments for Bessie the cow.
That's what I want to.
I want
make that. There is a horse. You can be a horse as a vehicle, but I had heard that it's made by someone called Anonymous, so it's not like I can even contact them. But I heard they were working on attachments for it, like Jeb wants to plow, but I have not seen any.
Oh,
Sure.
I guarantee when it comes, you will let me know.
Is there a way to turn a fan on here? I see a fan, but it's not spinning.
See, now, like, your chat's already sending me mods. It's just, I have a helicopter that will flirt, but it doesn't work that great.
Oh yeah, there's a helicopter that first.
Yeah, it's just, the helicopter doesn't stay it doesn't hover. So you're always trying to keep your height, and it's hard to flirt doing that.
Well, no, I can
Same one that
I can
Dashnet was using for a while?
fast farm
I
faster
don't
than
know.
everyone else.
His crashed
I
the
just
map, didn't
I
it?
just F12 it in.
I don't remember.
I think the one he was using, and it like when he was testing out, not ways back, crashed the map if you got too crazy with it. This is a different one, I think, but you got to control the height.
You know
If
what
they
I'd
can
like
get
to
the
see?
hover function, it works.
You know what I'd like to see in the game, though? In all honesty, I'd love to see a crop duster in it.
Yeah, that'd be a nice feature.
You know, I mean, they got Lindsay pivots and not full Lindsay pivots, by the way, but it's lizard pivots. But and that actually doesn't work out. That doesn't work too bad. But the one in 19, that one sucked. This one actually works.
Yeah, the Hispanic
Hey,
ones
didn't they
really
actually
good.
have the crop duster in, was it 13 or 15?
I thought there is a plain crop duster out there on one of those sites.
I don't know of a plain
Okay.
one. There is the helicopter that will fert and herbicide, but I don't know of a plain one.
But in all honesty of the whole thing is I wish the Giants, and this is just my own opinion, by the way, I really wish the Giants would implement more broad farming. You know, where, like, let's say rice, and I know that down there in
All right, tell me in
Louisiana and all
Europe
that,
where they
they
grow
run-
rice.
I'm at worldwide, Jeff.
The funny thing is when they had that survey come out where they asked everybody what map they wanted, the most common answer that I've heard people put was Asian.
Well, I thought I had a big thought before we knew that the Platinum expansion was the Pacific Northwest and it was forestry. I very, very much thought I had a very good guess that we were going to see an Asian map because of a few things. We've got one Japanese tractor in game, so we got one of one brand, right? So it's like there's this shortage. Like, why do we only have one of something?
Better yet, why did we only have
Right.
one electric tractor?
So we'll at some point we'll probably have more. And then during the chat about self-publishing, one of the guys said that they were moving into the Asian market with self-publishing. They could never do that when it was Focus Home Interactive. So if you're going to be moving into a brand new marketing area, what better way to pick up interest in your game than to have an expansion that is 100% focused on the agriculture of that marketing area. So I felt we were going to see an Asian map, we were going to see rice, we were going to see other regional crops, whatever they are, right? I thought we would see, accurate rice planting and harvesting and
or even India.
right. And it's not saying that we won't see that. We kind of know that we're going to get an Eastern European map in Phase 5 of Season Pass 2. But we don't know if we're getting a Farm Sim 25. Right? We don't know if there's going to be a Season Pass 3.
Oh, good Lord, don't say that out loud.
What?
My chat's gonna riot.
What?
Season Pass 3.
We might.
I mean, there's a possibility. Oh, good Lord.
I mean, the thing of it is that, yeah, we've got a little bit more, cultured based as far as the United States in the game, but there's still a lot of things that I don't know if it's just a demographics or if it's just, they're not aware of it. But like even in the South in the United States, Arkansas, Mississippi,
That's what I was talking about.
Louisiana, they do cranberries down there.
And that was before
And
we
they-
had
you
Kubota,
know, that requires you to flood the fields.
right? We just got
You know,
Kubota
not
with the
harvest them
DLC.
with a harvester. They actually flood the fields and pop them off the vines, and then they go out there with a water boat and pick them up. But, you know, that's the type of things that, you know, I would more, you know, have more enjoyment of, because it's given a different crop type. I mean, outside of a mod author or a modder, we don't get the alfalfa. You know, we don't get the we just get the grass and the, you know, that can turn into hay and silage. We don't get the alfalfa side, you know, or the clover side, and that's grown down in Texas and Oklahoma.
All right, here's
You know-
a question for everybody in comms. Let's pretend they have let's pretend there's a season pass 3. Are you okay with season pass 3 if the base game goes to Unreal Engine?
They're not going to go to Unreal Engine.
Do what?
I don't think they're going to go to Unreal Engine. I think the only reason we have the ability to play this map the way we're playing it right now today is because we're not using a off-the-shelf third-party engine. We're using something that's custom that allows us this complete, utter dynamic environment.
So here's my question to everybody, and this is just a generic question. You know, because you got you got other games like ATS and ETS. What servers do they use? Because they're adding more states to their, you know, like ATS. In the last 5 years, they've added more states that they're actually being able to support. So what do they use in that Farming Simulator can't use?
So ATS is extremely, I mean, it's a static map. There's no interaction that you make other than it being in the world, right? You can't change the environment in any way. All you can do is be in the environment. So is there, I don't know the answer, so this is a legit question. Is there a game that has a dynamic environment where the player can change the environment permanently that is running off of Unreal or
Satisfactory and Arc.
those other
Valheim.
Grand
So-
Theft Auto 5.
So I can change the world in its entirety?
All right, Satisfactory you can't, but Arc, you can build. You may not. Well, we can't tunnel either, so yeah. I mean, it's building.
But like Minecraft, I mean,
That's what I was kind of thinking too, because Minecraft does everything.
Well,
Right.
But they use a what is it, Mojang server system,
yeah.
which is basically a you know, Windows server basically, and
Well-
Windows server allows the features of the commands to be in there.
Well, in Minecraft, everything is a block. Right? I don't know much
Play a
about
different way,
Minecraft
but yeah.
other than everything
Yeah,
is like, you know, a block.
when you look at it, it's in a grid, blocked grid pattern is basically what it is. You know, like your mountains and stuff. There's no textures of rocks or anything else. It's just a block.
Right. So I think there's things that are implemented in Giants, and I'm not a game expert on how you can do everything with all the engines because I have no idea how to do anything in Unreal. But I feel that we would lose core functionality that I think a core group of players would be very unhappy about if we move to a different engine.
Well,
And it may
here's the
be
other thing, too.
it may be things like you can't cut down trees anymore, or you can't create fields anymore, because like cattle and crops, right? That failed game had dynamic dirt, right? Dynamic ground. So like you had ruts in the fields and and things like that. But as soon as you got out of the field, you didn't leave ruts on the grass outside the field. It only put mud in the field. And there was no ability to change the field, make a field, or change the environment in any way. It was like, here's your farm, and here's the fields, and go to town.
So like ATS, the detail is, I would say, like wide, right? Like you can see the towns, and like Taxi's saying, yes, you can get mods to change it, but you're just putting like skins on things. The detail in FarmSim is depth, like layers, where like you're saying, you can change your environment, so it's just different levels of processing.
Well, I think it's this. FarmSim is a true sandbox. You can go anywhere and do anything in the sandbox that you want.
Right.
ATS and ETS is more of a theme park ride. You're only allowed to go onto the roads that, like I don't think you can get off the roads into roads that you can't get onto, if that makes any sense.
No, they got the big invisible walls.
Yeah, you can only go where they want you to go. Are we windrowing over here?
I'm swathing grass.
Oh, this just feels wider than the others.
Oh, well, I'm doubling up. It's 2 swaths onto one.
So here's my other question too: is do you think that they're gonna start implementing more U.S.-based equipment on the server or on the game, or do you think they're just gonna lay off them?
I think yes. I think COVID put them 3 years behind their plans, because they were talking about opening a Giants office. They were talking about hiring staff in Chicago in 2019. And then COVID, they put up halts on everything because executives couldn't come over here to close the deals on things. But now that we have a Giants office in Chicago, we're hiring more staff, or they're hiring more locally based staff. We know from things Kermit said that they're going to be ramping up the U.S.-based presence with respect to like community events and other things. I don't think it's a very far stretch to hire staff that are focused on going to North American-based manufacturers and actively courting them for the game. And we have John Deere, but we have John Deere Europe, right?
Well,
I mean,
in all reality of it, though, the thing of it is there's not much difference. Most of what people don't realize is that most of the equipment, like the tractors and such, they're actually built over in Germany, and then they're shipped over here and put U.S. parts on it. But there's not much difference between the tractors, other than maybe a few horsepower or a few other implements that could be, like a quick hitch on the back of it. But there's not, it's basically the same tractor as what you guys have, what they have over there.
And we're seeing, I think we're seeing
the
more.
One thing about the U.S. market, though, I honestly don't think Giants will ever hire developers and coders in the United States. I don't think they can afford to pay them, because what they're paying their people in Germany, Austria, is way cheaper than what they would have to pay, in flat wages and in benefits.
No, but the thing of it is, though, Jab, is that they don't have to do that if they can get, schematics or pictures or detailed.
But here's the problem: it's not a schematic thing, right? If they want to improve the game, there's ways to improve the game right now that's simple, right? All they have to do is get more field states, right? If you got a field state for rocks, and you got a field state for fertilizer, you got a field state for weeds, you got a field state for limestone, right? How hard is it to make a field state that says, hey, you need to spray insecticides on your crops. If you don't, then you get a negative yield on your crops. Or fungicides or water. It's things that are already built into the engine that's easy to do that doesn't take extra code.
I think it's coming. I mean, you look at what we had with precision farming in 19, and then you look at some of the tweaks that they've added to it in 22. I can see them adding even more tweaks in the future to introduce that, and I thought we might have some of that when we had like different brands of fertilizer and different brands of things. Be like, oh, I wonder if like certain fertilizers are for certain crops. Didn't work out that way, but
Hey, what's up, Thomas?
well, that's one thing that this engine allows you to do, is because a lot of these things are simply just layers. They're basically images.
Yeah, but you can't
layered
you
on
know,
top of
if-
each other.
On the other side of that, you can't put too much into it without doing some kind of update either on the engine or on the scripts, because otherwise you're just going to lag yourself out. The game is never going to, guys that, like say myself, yeah, I had to upgrade my computer, but let's take Thomas. His computer's not, a 2023, computer. His computer's probably a 2010 computer, with a few minor upgrades. But guys that are like him, you keep adding so much of that on there, and then all of a sudden he can't play until he buys another computer, or upgrades his computer up to, we're already up in the 3,000 range for the graphics cards. You keep doing that, the layers. Eventually, you're going to run into that problem with even the consoles can't even play it. Because you just keep adding more and more to it.
All right, let me
There's gotta be-
let me clarify my statement a little bit, because there's a couple different channels listening to what I said about the field states. There is something that could stop that from happening if there's a maximum amount of field states checks that they can have in the system. And if that's the case, hey, just come out, say, hey, it's not as simple as that, because there's only a maximum of 10 field states that we can have, and that's why we don't have these additional field state checks.
Right.
The problem is, I don't know the engine, right? I just look at what exists already and go, all right, based on this, it's just another field check state. But if we're maxed out, then it's like, okay, can we get a limit breaker to extend that limit from 10 and double it to 20?
What did I
Good
miss?
point.
Yeah, I think
Missed a lot.
I think right
actually.
now we're mostly limited by PS4 and Xbox One compatibility. And it'd be nice if, right, hopefully. I mean, they're not going to drop support for those platforms in 22. But whatever comes next, I doubt it will be PS4 and Xbox One. And maybe then we'll see 4X maps make their way to consoles.
What about making two separate engines? But limit the crossplay.
I don't think they'd go backwards. So like in 17, yeah, in 17 there was the Nintendo Switch version of the game. It was the same FS17 as PCs and other consoles played, but no mods were available on Nintendo Switch. And then suddenly when 19 came out, it didn't support Nintendo Switch. And instead, Nintendo got FS20, if it got FS20 at all. And now, Nintendo Switch is bundled in with iPads and Androids as a mobile platform.
Yeah, but even with them, you're still not able to get the mods because, well, because I can't get mods for my phone. I've had it on my phone and my tablet forever, and there's no mods available for us.
Right.
Why do you need extra mods to play Farm Sim?
You don't, because the way that actually is it's a lot different than what you would do on your computer. You know, everything is geared for the horsepower that, you know, like if you go out and get the 5 or the 640 what the hell is it, quad track, case quad track, and it can actually pull the fields, whereas on the computer it can't pull its own weight out of its own paper bag when you put it back behind a huge plow. You know, and I mean, I don't need the extra mods for, you know, the phone or the tablet. You know, and to be honest with you, I don't think that Switch does either. You know, where you get the mods at is where they fall short on is the computer side.
Has anybody here seen 23? I know FARMER-KLEIN has.
Bits and pieces.
All right, here's what I'm gonna tell you about 23. Those fields aren't really big enough for large equipment.
I heard that 23 is falling flat on its face with that. That's what I heard anyway.
I would wonder what their expectations were.
The last time that I got one was 21, I think, and I don't plan on buying any more for the tablet or the phone.
Right, but I would think for if someone is thinking it fell on its face, I would be wondering what their expectations were, and I think maybe they would have had maybe potentially unrealistic high expectations.
I agree.
I agree too.
23 for what it is, and it's a mobile game. You're not gonna get PC version on your phone.
It's for that type, or that game is built for kids that are sitting in a doctor's office waiting in a
Exactly.
you know, waiting there.
Now I will tell you.
Same example myself.
I will tell you that if you had a screenshot and you took the UI elements out, if you had a screenshot of FS22, then you had a screenshot of FS23.
You'd be hard pressed to tell the
If you gave it to 100 people, I would bet you more than half of the people would not know the difference between the two from the screenshot.
But you know, you were talking about, you know, why would I need mods for, you know, the Android or the tablet? Well, here's where the mods would come in. Is you're only playing on one map. That's
There's
all you
two
get
maps.
is one map. Well, on the ones I had were not. They were
Right.
on one map alone.
23
But
has
you
2
had
maps.
23 is a
that's
giant
23.
leap from 20. But yeah,
But
there's two. There's no map. I mean, it's a casual game.
Right.
I don't think anyone's
Giving it to the kids
expected
on a
to.
road trip.
I don't think anyone's expected to put thousands of hours into any mobile game. Maybe there are,
But there are.
right?
I know plenty of kids that, you know, like he said, you know, going on a road trip. Here, take your tablet, and they'll sit there and go play for about 4 hours, and they'll be like, "Mom, my battery's about to die, and I can't lose this draw."
Right. But that's just 4 hours, not thousands.
But that's you know, that's just, you know, basically how it is. You know, it's more or less built for a boredom game, basically. You know, something that takes the boredom away from the ride, or if you're going on a long trip or something, you grab out your tablet, you start playing your game on the phone or the tablet.
Right.
You know, whereas, you know, the computer and the Xbox and all that, that's based on a more extreme level, you know, on a more experienced level, because you're dealing with mods, you're dealing with, you know, it's basically the same game, but you have a lot more versatility on the computer or the Xbox or PlayStation than you do on the mobile app.
I think about it in terms of money. We talk about this all the time, is that, you know, the revenue generated from Farm Sim is you know, somewhere in the low 50% for console versus PC. The amount of revenue generated from PC over console is somewhere between 4 and 5 times, you know, industry-wide. The amount of revenue generated from mobile games is like 100 times. Giants would be crazy not to get in that space, and that's what they did. They put a game out to get in that space. It's not the PC version. It's a mobile game to get into the mobile game space that breaks in hundreds of billions of dollars every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of the FFSL, right?
That's why with 23 there's unlocks, right? You buy the base for $7.99, but if you want that John Deere harvester, then here's $1.99.
Yeah, if you want large tractors, you're gonna have to pay that mini DLC fee to unlock it if you're on phone.
And that's why the Switch version is more, plus the Nintendo tax. But yeah, Mobile 23 is a casual game designed and intended for casual gameplay. Whereas the console is you're sitting on a couch or in a chair or at your desk, and you're gonna invest a few hours into each session, and you're probably gonna come back multiple times a week. But you might mobile farm sim an hour or two, and then you might not mobile farm sim for another week because you just get too busy.
That's kind of like how I am. You know, like when I get down here to Brigham City, Utah, I'm gonna park it for the day, and you know, I'm gonna get on there and play. And I did a little bit last night, but you know, Thomas is the first one that'll tell you that, you know, there for a while I was playing it every night, but I was only putting in about an hour into it, you know, just enough to relax and then go to bed, because I'm busy 90% of the time of the week.
Yeah, like today I had to get the car oil changed, so I didn't, but I could have mobiled for the 45 minutes, hour or something that the car was in there. But instead I just trolled around the lot.
Now, here's what I will tell you: if you're a farm simmer that likes to play hardcore, get the mobile game, get just the base mobile game for $8, and grind on that bad boy and find out what hardcore grind is.
I have heard it's difficult to make money on that game.
I've heard it from about 3 different individuals so far. I'm not going to say their names, but one drives, you know, toothpaste tractors.
Yes.
So you said don't mention your 3 season pass because your chat
No,
would
we
go.
can talk about it. It's okay.
Are they the season passes should be a once and done and forever life of the game thing, or
No, it's the concept.
Pushing it back.
it means you're not getting the game again because it's going to be another year wait.
Mm-hmm. It's already, you know, all right. It's going to be 25 at the earliest now. You know, FS 25 at the earliest, and if they have to believe it's FS 26, oh good lord.
Right.
You know, in all honesty of it, and me and a friend of mine at Jab knows, we've both said this, that, you know, the 3-year push that they did, you know, because they were doing it every other year they were coming out with another one. Well, every 2 years, I should say. They were coming out with a new game. Well, then they did a 3-year, and we actually liked that better because it improved the game a lot. You know, they weren't just scrambling trying to improve the game.
Well, I think that was a Focus thing. I'm pretty sure Focus Home Interactive said you must release the title every other year. And moving away from that meant they could release it on their schedule.
Right.
So I don't think we'll ever see every other year again.
Nope.
I think
the other thing is this: if you look at the history of the game, right, the low-hanging fruit that used to exist no longer exists. There's no such thing as low-hanging fruit to fix. Now it's medium-hanging fruit, which takes more time and effort. The other thing is most people don't realize how much time it takes to develop a game. You're looking at 2 years just to, from the very beginning to being able to release it. Plus, they're working on DLCs and all this other stuff that they're working on too.
Well, not only that, but it seems like here lately, almost every year, there's been massive upgrades to the graphics cards or memory chips or, processors that, they have to base that around too, because they've got to play around with that. I mean, when we went from 17 to 19, we went from, having like 8 gigs of RAM to 12 gigs of RAM just to run the game. And we had to have at least a 960 graphics card. So, I mean, just in that fast, 5-6 years.
Yeah, but think of this. I mean, us in the United States think a 960 is an outdated, antiquated.
All right, guys, I'll be right back.
But people in foreign countries, 960 isn't.
No, but when they released it over here, that was their minimum. That was the bare minimum requirements that they could, possess at that point. But then they come out on 19, and you had to have 12 gigs of RAM. Because it was taking more RAM usage than it was taking video usage.
Well, that brings up a point too, because they're a global company, and if the standard is high here, and they're trying to sell to South America and Europe and other countries,
Baltic
do they want to
countries.
add all that medium hanging fruit that will make the game unplayable for those other markets?
Yep. And now you're playing around with the PlayStation and the Xbox, which has their own graphics BS that they've got to deal with. So I mean, there's a lot that has to go with it that they have to get work around as far as being able to allow the people that do play it to be able to play the new game. So in all honesty, I think if they come out with a season 3, so be it. If it pushes the game release back, then
Welcome back.
What are you gonna do?
Sorry, I had to take a quick.
I mean, you can complain about it all day long.
I'll be mad and upset for about 2 weeks, and then I get over it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But on the other hand, it boils down to this: if it's being pushed back, then give us, talk to us. Let us know what's going on, so we understand why it's being pushed back.
Exactly.
And back to communication.
Back to communications, right? Yeah.
It all boils down to communication.
So here's
Communicate.
right here's something that helps kind of frame the game dev time frame. Farm Sim 17, right, came out in, let's say, October. I think it came out actually in October of 16, because I saw a video about zombie walkers and I thought that was so cool. But I bought the game after Halloween, so I didn't get to see zombie walkers for a year. So I was a little sad. But anyway, July of 17
I figured that's why that river was out there. I just didn't know who to name it after.
was when the Giants had their mod contest, and Seasons showed up and just basically blew everyone's mind. That we have legit Seasons in the farm game, like the one thing that everyone has always wanted is now here, right? For PC. Giants reached out to him and hey, we would be really cool if we could offer this for consoles, but we need to basically take your scripts and add them to the game, because you can't have script mods on console because Sony and Microsoft are evil overlords.
Yep.
So they basically worked with them and incorporated their scripts into the base game code. Through a game update, right, they could have Seasons on console. It was still a mod you had to enable, but it referenced scripts that were already there. One of the reasons we were given that Seasons didn't make its way into 19 as a base feature was because when Seasons came out in 2017, right, 6 to 9 months after the game released, it was already too late to be added to 19. And 19 didn't release until like November of 2018. So, you know, over a year later, it's still, or less than a year after a game releases, it's still too late for the next game version to have something added to it, because that feature set's already been locked in. So we got it in 22.
The core code's already been built.
Or projects have already been assigned to staff, and like there's no staff to make this new feature. And in fact, between 17 and 19, the lead developer for Seasons became a Giants employee. So we thought, oh yeah, right, yeah, he can work on Seasons. Sadly, he was tasked with improving and changing the contract system entirely, and that's what he worked on in 19. Or 419 was the new contract system.
See, go ahead.
But yeah,
Why does Giants do that kind of crap? Because in all reality of it, if you're bringing on a modder that made a good script that runs pretty much flawlessly in the game and everything like that, why would you bring on a modder and assign him a different task than to take care of the mod that he created and to better that mod?
Because it's in his realm of expertise. If you're writing a script, a Lewis script to do Seasons and all that other stuff, then you can write a Lewis script to make the contract system better. If he's the best person in the house to do it, he gets it. Or she.
So Giants, and I think this may be a German thing, maybe a European thing. People say, well, they just took that mod and just tossed it in the game as a base feature. That's partially right, but what they did was they take a thing, a function that people like, they rewrite it to their own satisfaction, and implement that function or feature. But it's still their code. So Seasonal Cycles isn't a copy of Seasons from 17 or 19. They basically took, okay, people really like the idea of having the visual changes. They really like the idea of having a planting schedule. They really like the idea of getting snow and all of that. So we're gonna write our own version of all that and implement that. As opposed to just saying, well, here this thing is. Let's just pay these people some money and just full on copy and paste it in.
See, and that, even right now, I think there could be some tweaks in Seasons that could be made that would improve it. But and that's just, it's not just Giants that does this, but there's other mega corporations out there that do that, where they'll hire somebody on and then basically buy their script away from them or buy their product away from them and then market it as their own. And it's just, I don't know. I just don't get it, because it's like, why would you steal something that somebody else did?
Well, here's a question. Does everybody feel like Giants is successful?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is it a superior product?
Yep.
Do they have any competition?
Not really.
So they're like World of Warcraft, right? They dramatically have increased their sales in between from 17 to 19 to 22. They're wildly successful for being conservative. Why would we expect them to do anything quickly?
That's like the season pass. I say we have a track record of season passes. If you're expecting theme changing stuff, you're not getting it. They're following their path, and it's working for them.
One, the other thing about season pass is simply this. Season pass is just, in my opinion, is offered to the Pokemon collectors that got to have it all as a way of saving money. I don't think Giants puts a season pass out with the sole intention of making money.
I think a little differently. I think season pass for is one definitely for if you're gonna buy all the content anyway, right? Season pass will 100% give you more value for your money. But I also think season pass is for capturing sales to people who at some point will vanish from the gameplay and potentially never come back, and they may vanish before or after all of that season pass content's released, right? So you can pre-order the game, you can pre-order the season pass, you can spend a little bit more money and get a discount and pre-order the bundle, right? And then the season pass comes out over the whole year, but maybe you farm sim for 6 months and then you move on to the next thing, and you never come back.
Thomas know a few people. Thomas know a few people that do that.
But as someone that bought the season pass, you've suddenly, right? You've bought, in this case, for year one, 2 DLCs that you've never played because you left the game, but I got your money up front.
Right, and it's also, again, it's a stability thing, because if you pre-order, they know how much revenue they're getting in, guaranteed. They don't have to guess how much it's going to sell. They have an idea of what it's selling at now.
Right.
But
well, it's the same thing as MMOs. When an MMO first comes out, right? They offer you a discount for a year worth of, server fees ahead of time, and people gamble that they'll be playing the game for a year, and they go, all right, I'm going to save the money. And then they find out later, they're just like, well, I got duped.
Right.
Well, and it's like, or you got people like myself, where I don't have pumps and hoses, and I don't have the grow wall.
But
system.
pumps and hoses wasn't part of the season pass.
No, it wasn't. But I didn't buy the season pass because, to me, I don't want something I'll never use in my game. Not saying that I wouldn't use it, but at that point, I did not feel like it didn't interest me. So why am I paying for something that I'm never going to possibly use and just waste my money? If I want to use it, I'll buy it, outright without the season pass. And that's kind of, how I look at things. And I mean, it's great for the season pass, but for somebody that may not use half the equipment that's on there or half the stuff that, it comes with, it doesn't make it, it's just something sitting there on the server or on the game idle. It's a waste of money to me. But if I want to use it, great. We'll throw it on there. I'll buy it. We'll throw it on a server. I'll throw it on my personal game. I don't care, and play it. But the grow wall, I mean, we've had that thing in the past, and I've not really been interested in the whole thing at all. But pumps and hoses really didn't interest me because, all this.
Well, you don't use flurry.
I don't know. Exactly. Well, we do, but we have other options of doing it.
So yeah, there's people who buy DLC because they want to support Giants, and they feel that they're going to continue to support Giants by just buying the content, and that's fine. There's people like you that are only interested in things that they're going to play with, so they don't want to buy the season pass ahead of time because they don't know what's going to be in it, and they're not really taking a big gamble because they know the season pass will forever be available. So at most, they're gambling on how much time they can play with something, right? So they might wait. I want to wait until I see if everything is released, and then I can decide if I'm going to buy the season pass or not, or just buy individual content. And if 3 of the 4 things are worth buying, then it probably is about the same price as a season pass.
Well, I mean, it's just like right now, when I bought the game, I pre-ordered it, and it came with the saddle pack, saddle tractor, that pack, which was fine with me. I didn't care. And then I think we got the Jababbo pack when it come out, and I think there's one other pack that's on there. But we use the stuff. It's not like, it just sits there and is idle in the background because, you know, I went out and bought it just because I wanted to buy it, you know, or bought the season pass and it's just sitting there. You know, everything that we've, you know, have on the server. Yes, I know I'm saying you know what. Everything that we have on the server is what we actually use in the game. You know, that's not saying that we would not use the pumps and hoses, but it just doesn't seem feasible to me.
Now, for me,
the other thing is a pre-order. When you pre-ordered, you knew what you were getting.
Yep.
With the season pass, you don't. You're going in blind faith of there's going to be 4 DLCs. More than likely, I will be able to use something out of each of those packs, and because of that, I'll be happy. It also boils down to your discretionary income.
Here's what gets me the most. On the, like, for an example, on the Season 2 pass, why is it that, like, the Premier pack, why is the DLC still in the shop area? Like, it'll still pop up in my wish list. And the only thing I can think of is like there's 2 separate. There's a Steam version, there's a Giants version.
That's the other thing that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you've got the Steam game, but you bought the DLC from Giants, Steam doesn't know that.
Yeah. No, this is part of the Seasons Pass. And it's like the only way that you can actually, it took me a while, it's like, to figure out how to do it. It's like, okay, how to get the Premier pack or Platinum DLC, where it'll pop up, where actually where I can play on it and everything. Compared to the other one, once after you like buying your DLC that's in the store itself, all you gotta do is just like check mark or something and boom, it's already automatically in your game.
Right. And that's just, you know, that's kind of how, you know, you didn't have to wait for an email from Giants for a code or anything else. That's one of the reasons why I switched
Tony,
over to
you want to
Steam,
grab
because of that.
one of the scanners? Or actually, Tony, never mind. Grab the rock picker.
Okay.
We'll just pay for the scanning. If someone could explain to me how to do it.
You can't pay for the scanning if you plow the field, I don't think. You don't know?
You can. You have to pay, I think, for the whole
Whole property.
Let me see.
Yeah. And I learned that you got to be careful about with precision farming. Like, make sure you know your boundaries, because something will reflect with precision farming if you go outside your field area.
I can't pay.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I don't think it works if you plow the field.
I could expose the entire soil map on the map, but that might be
go ahead and do
cheating
that
for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I would say go ahead and throw lime on it, and that way you will be able to buy it by the precision part.
No, he's gonna type a code in. I know what he's doing.
Did it?
Me?
I don't know if it did it.
No, FARMER-KLEIN.
Oh, I don't know any codes.
Did it? I don't know if it did it.
Oh, what's it? Hey, tell everybody what the code is.
Oh, that's a tidbit of information. It's _ PF for precision farming. Big U, because you and me are big, and then it's uncover all with a big U. So it's small PF, big U, and uncover all. So it's
Thank you, sir.
Precision farming.
I knew it was something like that. I just wasn't sure what was capitalized and what wasn't.
But it didn't work here.
Oh, it didn't work?
No.
Yeah.
It might be a.
Because we're on a server.
Might be a server thing.
Well, that will work in the game.
If you have console commands enabled.
Yeah, in the single player game it will for sure.
If you have dev console, so you hit the tilde and you get the console up. Yeah.
Somebody will have to DM me that code or something.
It's how I show the soil map on my map videos.
I got you.
I cut the recording, I hit that command, I start the recording back, and poof. Magic of editing. Looks like it just showed up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've been busy on Surfing Cowboys server. Oh.
Yeah, I would say maybe if I don't know because I don't have season pass. I just have the individual DLCs. But I would think if
let
it's
me see. Yeah,
if
I'll
there's
put it in chat. Hang on.
if there's a
Is there
different thing.
is there an underscore in there anywhere?
Nope, PF, then big U, and then little N, then cover all. So it's uncover with a big U. Uncover all. But I would say that if the season pass makes DLC show
Is it
up
two
different,
U's or one U? One
U.
big U and then N.
big U N,
All right,
B-E-R,
take one of the U's
and
out.
then big A all, big A. So big U, big A, and all. Sorry.
So basically the way you would make an XML file.
I typed it in text chat. In voice chat text. For you. But on the season pass, if the season pass is different to like activate it, then it would have been a nice, from an ambassador standpoint, to have had that type of information so that we could convey it to people. Like, I know there was a bit of confusion, I think, on consoles and how they get season pass content because it just doesn't show up. They have to go to the store and, I guess, buy it for $0. I just kind of assumed if you bought the season pass on Steam, it would just, when new content came out, it would just show up. It would just auto download. And I know with season pass, I think in Giants, I'm pretty sure you have to go to the Giants eShop and plug in your code and then download.
Yeah, you plug in your code each time.
And then I assume it downloads the individual DLC then, and you install it individually.
Mm-hmm.
Steam automatically updates. Once
It's a
the
pain.
DLC's on there.
You would think, and you have to do. And the other thing is, let's say you wait to get 3 of them at one time. You have to individually load all 3 of them. You can't. It's not like check a box and now they're all there. You got to do each one individually.
That's one of the reasons why I changed over to Steam, because Steam, if you go in there and you got 3 different options. You got the game with the Platinum Edition, you got the game with all with the bundles, or you can just buy just the bundle pack. And if you buy the season pass on Steam, as long as you're connected to the internet, which I'm hardly ever with my computer, until I get on it, it'll automatically download off whenever the DLC releases.
It automatically downloads compared to the one that you have to download if you get the season's pass.
Right. And I know some people pick Steam because they just don't want to have to deal with keeping a copy of the key and keeping track of that. Steam's great because it just
yeah, because then you got to go and find the email.
It does all that for you.
Find the email, and then you got to find out which one it is. You're right, exactly.
Right.
Once you buy the game, if you buy the season pass with it, Steam will just automatically update on your computer.
Hey, I'm just happy that we don't have to switch the file over like we used to have to.
Oh God.
No. When you get early access, you would have to go to a test thing, and if you didn't remember to switch out of it, you wouldn't get updates.
Huh.
I know. First world problems.
Yeah.
I know.
I know what you're talking about.
I remember in 15 you had to do that with the mods that you downloaded. It wouldn't download in the download file. It would download in your Microsoft downloads file. Then you have to go there and change it over and a bunch of other shit. Pardon my language.
I'm
Oh,
taking a short break. I'll be right back, guys.
and on that note,
Okay.
I'm gonna check out, and I'll be back in like.
Hey man, thanks for all the
6.
help. I appreciate it, sir.
I'll be back. I'll be
thanks
back
for the-
at 6.
Thanks for the cool information, man. It's not often I get it. I get insight about stuff that I don't know already.
I'll just
I
ask.
appreciate it.
You never ask, you never get told. Right?
Hey, it wasn't until yesterday I didn't even know you were an ambassador.
Oh, you.
Trust me, you'll be getting questions.
All right, I'll be back at 6 to close it out with you. 6 to 9.
Alright.
All right.
I'll try to be here.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming by and watching.
He'll probably be on the game.
We're doing 2 long live streams tonight. I didn't really talk too much about
I only got a couple more hours and I'll be done.
TWLOHA and our mental health awareness stream, but that
Yeah, he
is
came
a
on late last
nonprofit
night,
that we are working with.
and Sci-Fi and I'd already logged off.
So I'll be back in 2.5 hours at 6 p.m.
Oh,
and we're going to stream until
I know
9
he's
p.m.
streaming, but you
We're
gotta
gonna close it all
update some
out.
mods
If
or
you
update
are
the
wanting to
map
still watch content,
and add
head over
mods.
to Jab's Twitch, twitch.tv.jababbo,
Nothing spectacular, but it's all off the Giants website.
I believe it is. And like I said, he's going to be live until 9 p.m. He's been live since 9 a.m.
That is to turn
He's
tight
doing
to
a
my mom.
12-hour
She's going on
stream.
Stopping at Taco Bell.
So good on him for that.
Oh. Man, I feel like crap.
Hope everyone has a great
Who's all still here?
Memorial Day
I'm still
weekend.
here.
I don't have the screen up. I have Jab's screen up.
Got Jab.
And until
me,
next time.
Nick, well, you. Tony, and then FARMER-KLEIN, he's still in here.
Happy farming.
Ooh, I got a strap that just come loose.
Uh-oh.
Yummy. Glad I'm stopping.
Yep. Is it the middle section or the back section?
It's the middle one. It's been flopping around for a while now.